All my instincts, they return. The grand facade so soon will burn. Without a noise, without my pride, I reach out from the inside. In your eyes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejohn Sarowick. How are you this fine Sunday morning, Sejohn?
Oh man, can I get some of whatever you're on?
Well, I guess what I'm on is the fact that I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and I just ate a nice big ribeye steak. So protein and just like the fact that I'm not sleepy at all. Sejohn, do you have any idea why I started off this song with what can only be described as a haunting rendition of In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel?
No.
Oh,
I have no idea why.
Okay, so we have come to, this is a semi-annual event within my own life. There's a very good chance that this exact conversation I'm going to kick this episode off with has already happened on the Say Report. That being said, I go through these cycles where I have these realizations about humanity. And it happened again this morning. So before we kick off this conversation, and then I promise we will get to everything else that happened in May of 2026. In fact, I ran my document through the word counter that I used to make sure that our Adam Sandler synopses were 500 words long. I have 2,625 words written about May 2026, totaling 14,042 characters. So, you know, and I gotta tell you, I didn't write about yesterday or today. So just think about that. But before we get to that, Sejohn, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to know there is nothing on the line. I do not care if your answer is not the answer that I'd like to hear from you. I want you to know there is no pressure. Pop quiz, jackass. Why does Lloyd Dobler play In Your Eyes for Diane Court in the film Say Anything?
Like, are you asking me, like, what is the plot reason why?
I'm asking you
what is my, like, artistic opinion?
No, because artistic opinion, we wouldn't have time to get to those 14,000 characters that I just teased. Because artistically, I mean, we could talk about it, but I'm talking about there is a plot significant reason for that being the song. And I want to know if you know what it is.
It's been so long since I've seen Say Anything, man. It's like my least favorite of the John Cusack movies of that era, you know, like Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer are way more my jam.
You know what? So one of the reasons that I started this is so that we could tease for people that very much in the style of our episode for 4th of July last year, this year we will be celebrating One Crazy Summer for its 40th anniversary. So like you stumbled into the beauty of it. It is completely fine and understandable that you do not remember the plot significance of that particular song. And the reason why I absolve you and legitimately every other member of the human race is because it feels like a thing that only I retain. And I know that's big, like, main character energy right there. But legitimately, I have been to trivia contests where I have given the actual answer and been told that I am incorrect. Like that's the level of, like, people do not understand the significance of In Your Eyes and Say Anything. So here, recorded again to remind everybody, though everyone's going to forget, there's a hex placed on this particular bit of knowledge, and for some reason, I'm the only one that it does not affect.
It's the cursed knowledge.
Ione Skye and John Cusack lose their virginity to each other in an earlier scene in the movie. And Lloyd Dobler, played by John Cusack, is nervous. Like it's such a beautiful scene because she's like, "Oh my God, you're shaking." He's like, "Well, yeah, I've like never really done anything like this before." And the music playing in the background is "In Your Eyes" by Peter Gabriel. And the way she calms him down is, "Well, don't think about what we're doing, just focus on this song." And he's like, "Yeah, this is a really good song." And then they have sex for the first time in their relationship and the first time in their lives, based upon kind of everything that we've seen in the movie up to that point. Diane Court has complained about the fact that she was only focusing on academics and never like did anything else in her life. And based on Lloyd's reaction, I would be very surprised if this was not his first time being intimate with a woman. Though, I suppose a read could be he's nervous because it's his first time being intimate with someone that he actually cares for. But that would totally betray the Lloyd Dobler character. It'd be like after Diane Court broke up with him, he took this amazingly intimate moment and broadcast it publicly in an attempt to get her back. Oh, wait, that's exactly what he does. Because she said, I can't see you anymore. And he plays on a boombox outside of her window the song they lost their virginities to each other. It's kind of a creepy thing. And I gotta tell you, I don't think anybody knows that context, Sejohn. And this is the thing. I woke up this morning to a video posted by some Ninja Turtle fan site on Facebook where they replaced "In Your Eyes" with "Go Ninja Go," the ninja rap from Secret of the Ooze. And for me, that was super funny. Because imagine Lloyd Dobler in the back of Diane Court's car, nervous to have sex with her, and the song in the background is the ninja rap from the worst Ninja Turtles movie. I'm going to say that. Listen to our episode. I've made a pretty compelling argument for it. And she's like, just pay attention to the song. And the song is going, "Go Ninja, go Ninja, go," to a guy whose plan in life is to be a kickboxer.
Oh, man.
It's just like, that's funny like that, but then like without the context, it's still funny that like that's the song he's playing to try to get her back, or as most people think, to get her to even notice or like him. I don't know. Anywho, part of my being up at 5:30 is the fact that I watched Say Anything. So a viewing of Say Anything is part of what else happened in May of 2026. It all ties together. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Desay Report after this detour into Devon Decker's deep neuroses. At this moment, I hand the microphone over to Sejohn Zerowick so he can maybe reel this in before we go just off the rails about everything else we did in May 2026.
I also watched a movie this morning. Iron Lung is officially dropped on YouTube.
Nice.
For rent and purchase now, but apparently there's plans to make it free in the future when it can be done. But the journey from getting that to get that movie onto YouTube was apparently also just a fucking battle. Not necessarily a battle. YouTube was trying to. I mean, YouTube wanted the rights to this movie, right?
Course,
like,
yeah.
This is a project that is very related to them and like really indicative of like the kind of things that they were attempting to do years ago when they did this, like the creator, the YouTube creator status that they had for a while, where remember they did YouTube Red and like all the TV shows and stuff. I think like Game Theory got to do
Game Lab,
a live action show, Game Lab, right? Yeah, like but there was a couple of other ones from that too. There was like a couple of horror shows I think that came out of it, right? That
Wasn't
were, like, creepypasta horror shows?
Cobra Kai initially part of that as well? Or am I being crazy in that?
No, that sounds right. They basically kind of shut the door on the program about 10 years ago. You know, they had a good run with it, but I think they realized they didn't really need to like cordon it off like that. You know, like there was like a hot minute where they were basically trying to to create their own streaming service versus their like online presence, YouTube. And I don't know why they thought that was the right idea. And I think they learned pretty quick it was the bad idea. And that's why there's still a ton of stuff you can find on YouTube being created in that vein. There are web shows. There are movies that are released up there by creators that are like, they're not at the level of something like Iron Lung, but there's definitely like long form projects, right? I mean, people will upload 6 hours breaking down their hatred of whatever hot movie is going on right now.
Mandalorian and Grogu, I still think is the one.
I was going to say Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be the one.
I have not watched them, but I have clicked on them and then seen the length and been like, I'll save this for when I have 9 hours to kill. One that ranks every episode of American Dad before it came back to Fox, and one that like deep dives into the show Salmon Cat because of just how bad that broke, and eventually is what led to the like total destruction of Dan. I can't even remember Dan Schneider. Yeah. So like those are two like save to watch later videos that I have that I would really love to give 9+ hours of my time to, but I am not one of these people. When I start a YouTube video, I gotta be there for the whole thing. I don't like to pause a YouTube video and then come back later, because generally if I do that, I will just never come back later. Right? I know that if I'm going to see the end of it, I have to see the end of it. And those are two topics that I am most assuredly interested in, but I don't have like 10 hours to just sit with a YouTube video on. And also, I mean, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I believe the reason why YouTube Red structured itself the way that it did was in an attempt to market itself like a streaming service a la Netflix, and thus get high-profile projects to come to them. And then
more than even just on the web, the YouTube creator lab and things like that was like a physical place. Like at YouTube headquarters, there was like a place that you could go to basically learn to make a TV show, so that you would then produce stuff for them. So they clearly would have wanted their hands on Iron Lung, and so apparently what they did is they had to reopen that program just for Markiplier. But in his own words, they had to find somebody who even knew what they were doing and then dust off the manual because it had been so long since that program had been active. But it was really like, I guess, according to the stuff that I've been reading about it, because it's really hard to understand because YouTube is never transparent about why they do what they do. But I guess there was some level of access that he wanted/needed in order to get the movie up in the way that he wanted and in people's hands, because his big thing is that he wants it to be available everywhere. That's the other big problem, is like trying to find a way to get it onto the internet in a way that everybody can have access to it, while also playing within all of the stupid, contract stuff that when you make a movie and you register that film and you get that film out into theaters, you agree to certain things, and it's a pain in the ass to get around all of that shit. So even though he had full control of the movie the entire time making it, he still had to deal with a bunch of that shit. And so he's talked a little bit about that, and I guess YouTube stepped in and opened up this program again, put him in it, like just like as a favor, but it's like to the point where that means that he apparently now has like an office at YouTube or something like that. I don't know. It's a crazy, like, whatever they had to do. But that movie, man, the little movie it was a fight to get it in people's hands. But yeah, I snagged it when it came out. It actually was supposed to drop today, but stealth dropped on Friday. He did a quick announcement on Friday night that it had been out and is available, and so I grabbed it and I was checking that out this morning.
So that's awesome. Just for record, this is all based on information from DVD's release dates, which is how I know when films are going to be available on digital. Not mentioned on DVD release dates at all. And I know that sounds crazy, but they do have a whole section that is specifically digital releases. So the fact that that one was not part of the digital releases when it was that little movie that could, does mean that the fact that it's like YouTube Red, which everything I've seen, right? Like I've watched the Matt Pat story. I've watched like 2 hour-long videos about what happened to game theory after Matt Pat left. TLDW they like went downhill because people were watching for Matt Pat. They were not watching, not for the content, but for the guy. To save you time if these videos happen to cross your eyes. But they all talk about how YouTube Red has now become YouTube Premium. So the fact that YouTube Red had to have been resurrected, even though if you type into Google YouTube Red, it says in the AI overview, now known as YouTube Premium, like it's not even caught up with itself. Of course, if you ask Google how many P's are in the word Google, like historically it would say there's one P in the word Google. And I don't know where that P is, Sejohn. Is it silent? Is it a silent P? Only Google knows for sure.
We've been saying it wrong for years.
It's Google. But then also going off of DVD release date's site, the Super Mario movie, it was 49 days before it was available digitally. And as a reminder, I saw Iron Lung on the 4th of February. So the fact that this little movie, this like truly independent film, right? In so many like ways that could be done. Because it was all Mark who put it together, right? Like as far as I know, he had no outside help, right?
He definitely had crews and stuff that he has been hiring and stuff, but he has a lot of stories about nights where, you know, the crews would go home because that was their contracted time to leave, but there's still so much left to do that he would just kind of like run around and just do everything himself in a lot of moments. But there were other people working on that movie, and he makes that pretty clear that like he had to call in help when he needed it. I mean, we know that there were other actors in it and stuff like that, right? But I
meant more funding wise. Like it was all funded by him and donations and No, him being
completely funded by him.
Yeah, him having to hire people. That's how you make movies. As much fun as Iron Lung would have been if every character was just Markiplier in like a different costume and wig. I'm very happy that it was not the one-man show of theatrical releases.
I gotta tell you, man, you're talking about some of the earlier shit that he did way back in the early days of YouTube, where he was doing exactly that.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, no, it's
But then, so
I can't believe it took them 4 months?
4 months essentially for it to finally release. When you think about, like, I also want to see, since I have DVD releases up, when the Mario movie is supposed to come out on DVD, June 16th. So even then, that's a 2-month-ish window before that comes out. Though, looking at it, Scream 7 released at the end of February. That comes out on DVD the same day as the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So, I mean, it's all up in the air how long it takes for it to come that way. I think Scream 7's actually already available on Paramount Plus. In fact, I know that
Scream 7's been available digitally, I think, for a while now.
Yeah,
right?
for 3 months at least. It came out in March. So, like, that is nuts that it took that long. And also, when it is eventually free on YouTube, it's going to be free with ads, right? Like, you're not going to watch it and then it'll just be like, hey, you get to sit down and watch the whole movie. There's going to be moments where they pause it so that it can be monetized for YouTube. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's going to be the way. You're going to have YouTube Premium in order to avoid ads on it.
Yeah.
So you bought it, right? You didn't rent it?
Oh yeah, no, I bought it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only $10 it was $5 to rent, $10 to own. So I just bought it.
I'm probably gonna watch this movie twice, said Sejohn, and probably everybody else. Like,
yeah.
God, that's less than I paid to see it in theaters. My ticket was $10.50. That's crazy. I am just so happy that I saw it in theater, though. Like.
Yeah, no, of course. But I mean, that's always been kind of the theory that he has at least, talked about with making this movie, is that it was never about him putting something out there that was going to like break into Hollywood and make millions and all of that. But at the end of the day, he just wanted to do this project. This is what he's been doing on YouTube for 10 years now, 15 years, is like he gets a project in mind. He puts himself in it to the point where he almost makes himself sick or often ends up in the hospital because he breaks something. I mean, we talked a couple of years ago, but in the early COVID years, they didn't plan it to be a COVID project, but it became one. Him and the other YouTuber Crank Gameplays got together and did that Unus Honest like year-long project where they killed the channel after a year, and the entire point was to not do anything for advertising dollars. like it was basically like, this is all the stuff that we used to be able to do on YouTube, but it's not that you can't anymore, but you're not going to get any ads, you're not going to get any funding, you're going to get demonetized is the word they throw around, right? And they were just like, we're two creators at a point in our careers where we can get away with this for a year, but like it was it was to show people what YouTube used to be, and like really funny shit on that is now no longer available, right? Because that was the point.
That was the whole thing.
But this is what he does. He gets into a project, he gets it out there, and he really wants to get it in front of people. He doesn't really seem to care, what the return on investment is monetarily as much as he does, artistically, which is not something you could say about a lot of YouTubers. A lot of them are in it, and this is not an insult. Like it's a job, it's a hustle. Like you gotta be on it all the time in order to make the kind of money that some of these guys make. But they are there to run a business, and that's just not the style of artist that he is.
No. And I mean, I really enjoyed it. And the fact, I'm happy that you brought to my attention that it was available, because I knew that it was being so like contested how it was going to be made available. And also, like, when you look at it, it made $50 million, and that's awesome. And I don't know, I liked it. I'm really happy. I'm glad that you watched the movie too. And the movie, like, I had Say Anything on in the background, but I think you watched a better movie than I did. No offense to Cameron Crowe or anything like that. It's just that, like, Say Anything is a movie that I really enjoy, but again, it's the cursed knowledge that I hold in my head that kicked off this episode the way that it did.
Cameron Crowe has a bad habit of glorifying whiny white dudes. like that's what I'll say, is like a lot of the stories, especially early on, things like Say Anything. Did he also do Jerry Maguire? Was he the one that did Jerry Maguire? I believe
he did, yes. I will confirm that before I make us look like fools, but I think so. Yeah.
It was one of those things where, he is working from his own perspective, his own life experiences and stuff like that. So it's not like I think he was like intentionally out there just ignoring like women and people of color, but like rather that's not his story to talk about. I think that's the kind of attitude that he generally has. But it does unfortunately lead to just like some really just unfortunate, like in retrospect, main characters in his films,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Say Anything is the first one that he directed. He had written two prior to that. He was the screenplay for Fast Times at Ridgemont High, because it's based on his book, where he basically played a Never Been Kissed. Like, I went back to high school to see what high school was really like.
Yeah.
And then he wrote The Wildlife. And then he finally, in 1989, gets to make Say Anything. And then after that, he does Singles, which I've had a lot of conversations with people about the movie Singles lately, for better or for ill. And then Jerry Maguire. And Jerry Maguire seems like, if I had to talk about when he broke into like the common consciousness of like the world pop culturally, I think it's with Jerry Maguire. And the reason why I say that is because everybody I knew wanted to go see Almost Famous, and almost everyone I talked to, it was because of how good Jerry Maguire was.
Yeah. Almost Famous was definitely like the one where everybody was finally saying, "Oh, it's the new Cameron Crowe movie. We have to go see it." Just because it was the new Cameron Crowe movie. But Jerry Maguire definitely was kind of the first, I think, big one that I know people around me talking about. Say Anything became that, once we got into the college years because everybody had the poster on their wall.
Yeah.
But you look at like some of even his latest movies, like within the last like decade, Aloha, right, is with
Aloha
famously called out for having a white blonde come in and play a
native Hawaiian. Oh man, I cannot talk about what it's like to not be a white person. That's why I cast Emma Stone as a native Hawaiian in Aloha. He also did We Bought a Zoo, and I really like We Bought a Zoo. Do you know that you can just buy a zoo? Like, you can just do that.
We Bought a Zoo. Was that a somewhat true story?
I believe it is based on a true story. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like he does do. It's Cameron Crowe's the kind of director that people are still going to talk about for years. Like the ways in which he crafts stories, the ways in which you get so deep into these character studies, which is what these all are. These are all deep character studies, and like and if that's the kind of film you're into, like Cameron Crowe's a good choice in that genre, better than somebody like Woody Allen. Like, but there's this, you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely there's levels to just kind of, you just have to prepare yourself for the fact that you're going to be watching something that probably hasn't aged well, is going to be saying some things that are a little cringy, but overall, like structurally, like what the movie looks like. I mean, one of the best things about We Bought a Zoo specifically, and Aloha, I guess I would say, but I just try really hard not to give that movie any props, is the art direction, like the shoot, like the cinematography.
Beautiful. They're just absolutely amazing. Beautiful movies. And that's the thing. And you're not wrong. And you know what else I think about now that, since we're talking about Say Anything, by the 30-minute mark, we'll move into everything else that happened in May, right? Like, this is a fun thing, but I want to make sure everybody knows we do know what we're here for this episode. Is like, he's credited for the creation of the Manic Pixie Dream Girl because a lot of people credit Kirsten Dunst in Elizabethtown as where that came from. So he gets a little bit of credit there, because I don't think he wrote that one. I know he directed it. Let me check. I have it right in front of me. Well,
that's another one that was based on a book, right? Wasn't Elizabethtown like a pretty popular book at the time and got optioned for a movie?
The only writer on it is Cameron Crowe. So there's not like based on the story by or anything like that. And he is the writer. So certainly do. But then, like, now that I'm talking about Say Anything and putting together all the Cameron Crowe-ness of it all, which I am almost a Cameron Crowe completionist. I only haven't seen Singles or Vanilla Sky. Like, I've seen everything else, which is just crazy to me. But like, John Cusack's character in Say Anything, for you saying like that time in his life, the movies that he was in, he's not really the main character of that film. He is sort of a manic pixie dream boy to Ione Skye's Diane Court, because he teaches her like how to live life and get out of her own way. And that story is, for everything that we remember about John Cusack in Say Anything, that movie is really about the relationship between Diane Court and her father, played by John Mahoney, rest in power. You know, Fraser's dad, for anybody who doesn't immediately know who John Mahoney is. Like, the whole Say Anything thing is that you've always been able to say anything to me. And, like, it comes from their story. He is not, like, the way that film is remembered that way because John Cusack became John Cusack. And
stole that movie, I think, I would argue.
Right. But yeah, so, I mean, it was interesting to watch and remember. I'm really happy that you got to watch Iron Lung. Certainly a better film than the one that I did. I mean, in terms of, like, I don't know. I think, like, what it's saying is, I don't know. I don't really want to compare the two. That seems a little bit weird. T-minus 1 minute till we get to everything else that happened in May of 2026. Anything that you want to make sure you get off your chest, Sejohn, before we dive on in?
just as we move forward in this hellscape of a country and a world, I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, for the record, right, I guess a disclaimer, we're not really going to be talking about anything political that happened. I'm just going to be talking about stuff that happened in my own life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That we, like, the stuff that we usually talk about in episodes that all got pushed to the back burner because it was Brendan Fraser History Month. And now we've decided that those Brendan Fraser History Month episodes, the bulk of them is going to be about the Brendan Fraser history, right? We're going to talk about the movies. We're going to honor the man. That's how you get a new Mummy movie not directed by Lee Cronin in 2028. All right. So, Sejohn, everything else that happened in May 2026, which for me starts with two things in April, because there was some April days that were not talked about because of Brendan Fraser History Month. And the first is that for the first time in about 5 years, we celebrated Wizard Day on 4/27. Now, that date is chosen by the family because it is Jimmy Woods' like competition number. It's on his little bib. He's contestant 427. I loved the Wizard. I just really loved the Wizard. That's all I gotta say about it.
Yeah, man. I got a really good copy from, was it Arrow? I think
Shout Factory did it. Shout Factory.
Yeah. Shout Factory. They did a really nice 8-bit art cover for it and stuff like that. Yeah, I love that movie, man.
I do. I love that movie.
I always forget about the whole other plot of Beau Bridges and Christian Slater in that. And that part of the movie is phenomenal.
The movie is really good. Like, the fact that people just call it like Rain Man Jr. or say that it's a 90-minute Nintendo commercial, like, yes, it is. It shows off a lot of Nintendo stuff, and they blatantly lied to us about how bad the Power Glove was in one very famous scene that has been memed across the internet. But, like, there's a really deep story in that film. There's a lot of trauma in The Wizard that, like, the internet and the way it wants you to remember it really glosses over. Because, like, you think about, like, Haley, right? Jenny Lewis of Rilo Kiley, I don't know the name of it. The band. She's in the band with Blake Sennett. You know, Pinsky from Salute Your Shorts. Her whole character, like, she's been abandoned by her father, and she's like traveling, like, it's crazy. Like, that's a whole bit of trauma that we don't really talk about in that movie, like, at all. The fact that, like, spoilers for The Wizard, right? We've never done a full episode on it, but we've sprinkled it in there every once in a while. Everybody, like, Jimmy being essentially Tommy from the Pinball Wizard movie by The Who. He basically has, like, post-traumatic stress disorder about watching his twin sister drown right in front of him, right? It's not walking in on your uncle having sex with your mom, like, which gave Tommy the Pinball Wizard his psychosomatic deafness, blindness, and inability to speak. But, like, yeah, that's traumatizing to watch your sister die in front of you. And, like, nobody addresses it in that movie. Everybody's like, he's crazy. And it's just like, is he crazy? Or, like, does he have a legitimate reason to have been traumatized?
Yeah, all right. I mean, I feel like that's part of the point of it, though, right? Is recognizing that this person is broken, but not, not trash, right? Like, and that's true of all of them, right? Because I think the big artistic journey or character journey for Fred Savage in that one is realizing that he is also still hurting, right? Like, so much of his story is wanting to get away from the family because he just wants to get away from the pain, and he doesn't really recognize that is what he is doing because he's a kid, right? Like, and the stuff then with the older brother, because you have Christian Slater and Beau Bridges going after them, is so good, and the way that they just turn the cop into is he child services? Is that what he is?
He's just like a child hunter. Like, his profession is, I hunt down missing children for money.
Mm-hmm.
And he's disgusting. He's despicable, that character.
He's basically the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah. I mean, and there's also, like, we talk about Christian Slater and the great, like, father-son dynamics that are on display between him and Beau Bridges, but something that not even the movie really touches on, except for one brief scene, is the guilt that he is suffering because he was the one who was supposed to be watching Jimmy and Jennifer when she drowned. Like it's a blink and you miss it, like one line of dialogue that he was watching them when it happened. So, like, that's why he's going out and drinking and just being destructive, because he feels so guilty about, like, the death of his half-sister and how it's tore the family
dark
apart.
And deep
like,
movie.
Yeah. For something
well, you know, and you talk about it being a giant commercial, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is like, we actually have a direct, like, comparison that you can make in Mac and Me, and the ways in which that was just a giant commercial for Coca-Cola and McDonald's, specifically McDonald's. That's why he's named Mac.
That's why he's Mac. Yeah.
Is like, that is an atrocious film. Like, by any, you know, you can enjoy watching that movie, but by any measure, that movie is not good, right? There's bad acting in it. There's bad art in it. There's bad, like conceptually, the story is weird. The ending of it is wild, where they get like naturalized as American citizens, and then we're supposed to believe that they're like gonna go off and wreak havoc on everything. I guess, I don't know. like not stay with the government to like figure out what the fuck is going on with aliens, but, you know, rather we're just gonna let them live in some suburban neighborhood somewhere. And then I think that what they were probably hoping for was a sequel in which that would happen, right? But like, no thanks.
No, that didn't happen because we didn't need it.
Yeah. But like that, you know, so you look at a movie like that where it was also made primarily as just a giant ad for a thing, and it doesn't work, right? So there is definitely something to be said about the ways in which Nintendo is behind the wizard and all the silly shit that happens in it, and it gets called out, like, rightly so. Like you said, we memeified the hell out of some of the stupidest stuff in that movie, but I'm not going to ignore all the other good stuff that's going on in that film just because it happens to also be trying to sell me on the Nintendo.
Right, exactly. It's also trying to sell me on something that I was already sold on. Like, I mean,
right.
Like, it's not like, oh no, the Nintendo, I would have not cared about it if I hadn't seen The Wizard. No.
But I think that if you think about it at the time, right,
yeah.
wasn't it the introduction of the Power Glove?
Yeah, it was 100%.
So there is...
Mattel put together the Power Glove, and then that whole sequence is in there in order to sell kids on buying the Power Glove, and it is woefully represented. Like, he plays a game that is not compatible with it in a way that you cannot use the Power Glove. And also, and this is legitimately the craziest thing that happens in that movie, it works. Because as a proud owner of the Power Glove, it does not work. The Power Glove has only really come into its own in the makerspace in the past, 5 or 6 years. As people have taken what was a pretty solid concept and actually brought it to full realization. Then, and I promise this is the last thing in April, on the 29th of April, I saw Over Your Dead Body. Are you familiar with this film at all?
This is the one about the sisters, right? Where they go after they find out that their
that's
father?
Is God Is.
Oh,
that is a completely different one. Yeah. No. Over Your Dead Body.
No, I don't know this one. Then.
Okay, I want to go yearly domestically. I think it is the lowest film, the lowest earning film that I have seen this year. I want to see if that's still the case. And reminder, we just talked about Iron Lung having made 50 million all around the world. And I'm fairly certain even Iron Lung has made more money than this particular film. Let me get down to it. Vamp for me for a second, Sejohn, while I find this movie.
This movie's fucking wild, not least of which the poster where I would never have guessed that the man on that poster is Jason Segel. Like, there's other posters where it definitely is him, but this one that I've got here, hold on, I gotta send you this because this is wild. Oh man. Yeah, no, I have no, it seems a little tropey these days. This plot.
I mean,
do you want to talk about it or should I?
It's based on it. No, I can get to it. The problem I was having with trying to find it in like the top worldwide stuff, because it was sitting around 196. It has been pushed off the top 200 earning films for 2026. It only made $2.4 million. And when I say that only, I want you to hear the true gravitas of that only. Because this was not a film made by... So the writers of this film, the only reason that I'm aware of Over Your Dead Body is that it is the same writers as Pizza Movie, the direct-to Hulu film.
Hulu?
Yeah. Is the same people who wrote that. Also wrote Over Your Dead Body. And the director of Over Your Dead Body is Jorma Taccone of The Lonely Island. And you also have Samara Weaving, Jason Segel, Timothy Oliphant. Like, it's got a cast that you would think. Juliette Lewis, she's buried real low. And the film is about a married couple. Spoilers for Over Your Dead Body, but this is kind of the log line. I'm not going to spoil. Go see this movie. I am telling you, it is worth watching, even though it did not make a lot of money. It is a very enjoyable film. It released digitally this past week, and I'm sure it'll come to Hulu or things like that because they want to try to recoup this money. But a couple goes on vacation, and both the husband and the wife are planning to use this vacation as a way to kill their spouse. And hilarity ensues. It was just a really enjoyable film. There's some twists, some turns, some really exciting stuff. The fact that it has performed so poorly is insane to me. Like, legitimately, like, the pedigree...
Well, I mean, for starters, this is the first I'm even hearing about this film.
Yeah, that's a good point. You do bring up a very good point there. I don't know. It makes me sad. It does make me sad that it's like that. Just for the record, Iron Lung is currently the 37th highest, like, grossing film worldwide. One spot above Return to Silent Hill. And one spot below, they did a Marsupilami live action film that, like, has only recently come into my, like, existence and my knowledge. But, like, when I think of Over Your Dead Body, like, I almost went to go to the day that I went to the Morristown Armory for that toy show. If that toy show hadn't been as crazy crowded as it was, and Dale had not, like, lost her will to be a part of humanity after it, the next stop was going to be Kevin Smith's theater to see an early screening of Over Your Dead Body. That, like, Jorma Taccone was going to be at. But then I think about it, like, on the day I would have been able to get tickets to see that. So, like, even though, like, people in the industry were, like, really supportive of this thing, it just didn't have the legs that it needed at all.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because it was a really enjoyable film. Which brings us to May 1st, which was crazy. Not because it was opening day at Captain's Resto Bar, where I usually hang out, like, once a week for live music. And it was great to have them back. I didn't realize I missed them for the 6 months that they closed, because they closed for, like, the winter and spring season, which I didn't know that because they've only been open for three seasons. And that was great. Like, going in there, really feeling like Norm Peterson, like everybody recognizing me, and like, it was just a great night. But also the 1st of May was an insane day in Rhode Island because Proclamation Brewing announced that they were closing. And their whole plan was, we're closing and we'll remain open until we run out of stock. So I went there. I went to Captain's. I had a good time, and then I'm like, I'm going to stop by Proclamation. I got there at 7 o'clock. The line was out the door, and the people who were leaving with cases of beer, like 24 16-ounce cans, multiple cases. And that's because they had a special running that if you bought 2 cases, you got half off the second case. It was buy one, get one half off. And people were just like, they're going out of business. Oh my fucking God, I got to get everything that I can right now. So I'm happy. Man. I'm happy that I went, because little did we know at the time that they announced we're going to have to close down, that there was only going to be 72 more hours where Proclamation Brewing had legitimately any stock left. Like, that's how quickly they sold out once they... And that's the type of thing where, like, I always think about Lisa Lapira's character in Traffic Light, and one of her character's, like, traits, like, defining traits of this character is that she hates going out of business sales. Like, they establish it early in the first episode, when she's driving by a mattress store. Like, she's, oh my God, the mattress store is going out of business. And she's like all mad about it. And then it's like the 9th episode, they drive by that mattress store again. And she's like, oh, look who's going out of business again. Like, as if that mattress store has a going out of business sale to bring people in. Like, that's how it felt with Proclamation Brewing. Now, like, there were some real reasons behind it. Like, the guy who had established it with his wife, he had passed away due to cancer and had just become, like, untenable. Also, you know, I said we weren't going to be political, but the current world that we're living in is super unconducive to small businesses. It's also pretty unconducive to large businesses, because even Walmart has said our clientele cannot afford to come to our stores because of how expensive gas is, right? Mm-hmm. And they're considered the floor. They're considered the bottom rung of, like, retail. And when that cracks, right? Like, we always talk about breaking the glass ceiling. Breaking the floor, that means that everything falls out, man. Like, we're not great as an economy right now. And I know I'm laughing, but it is to keep from crying. That is just...
Exactly, right.
So, like, they went down, and I'm so glad I went. I had some great conversations with people. I got to fix their pinball machine 3 times in the hour and a half that I was there. I got to have a couple of beers. Like, and Proclamation, I've had some good memories of Proclamation. I don't know if we ever got to go there in any of the times you were here.
You and I.
Yeah, I did take you there, right? All right, good.
We sat there and watched Spider-Man.
Yes. They had the Simpsons arcade game. I mean, my best Proclamation Brewing, right, to share this story, was 4/20, like 2023 or 2024, where they, like, How High was on, and How High ended, and they're like, oh, what should we put on next? And I'm like, Dazed and Confused. And Dazed and Confused was only available to rent or purchase, and they purchased it to show Dazed and Confused. Nice. And then I'm like, well, now I have to stay and get a couple more beers because they just bought this movie on my recommendation.
Oh, shit, man.
And I was able to get us a little bit of swag, right? It's in the... no, like, spoilers, but I've started to put together a bit of a Christmas gift basket for you. It's going to be like birthday, Christmas of things. And I was able to get you something from Proclamation. I think you might even be aware of it already. But yeah, like, it was kind of a weird way to kick off May. Was just like this thing that always felt like it was going to be there, just being like, yeah, we have to close down. And it affecting not only you, like the people behind me, when I bought the swag that I bought, they're like, why are you getting so many? I'm like, well, one of these is for Utah and the other one is for Australia. And then, like, the person, they're like, wait, you know someone from Australia? I'm like, yeah. And, like, they knew Will because he had tried to negotiate like an importing their beer to his bar deal in Australia. That's how important Proclamation stuff was.
Yeah.
Like, and there you go.
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah. So then we get to May 2nd. I had the best Taco Bell I've ever had at the Taco Bell on Route 12 in Groton, Connecticut.
What's their shtick right now? What's the big thing that they're doing?
So right now, it was unrelated to that. It was breakfast. Now, remember when Taco Bell rolled out breakfast? We definitely have an episode where we lost our fucking minds over it with like the biscuit taco shell and the waffle taco shell. Taco Bell breakfast has fallen from grandeur that it was when it first started to the fact that not all Taco Bells are even open to have breakfast. And even then, if they're open before 9 a.m., it does not mean that they're going to have the breakfast menu. Like, it is very much like a roll the dice sort of thing. But on Route 12 in Groton, Connecticut, it's where I've always gotten breakfast, because usually when I'm starting out a journey to this, like, heading south, like, I'm hungry about the time I get there, so I'll stop in for, like, an AM Crunch Wrap. I love it. I'm sorry. And Dale and I, on the 2nd of May, we're going to the Shop the Curiosity Toy Show in Danbury, Connecticut, because we just wanted to finish up getting some of the Four Horsemen, like, exclusive figures that were all these toy shows around here. Happy to report that we did. But we stopped at the Groton Taco Bell.
You got to clarify what you mean by the Four Horsemen, because right now in my head, I think you have a bunch of Now You See Me figures standing around.
Dear God, I wish I did. No, Four Horsemen is a toy company. They did a topic for later in this episode, some really highly detailed Masters of the Universe figures.
Oh, really?
Like, between like 2008 to I think like 2014, they had that license. And then once they lost that license, they kickstarted the thing called Mythic Legions. And now they're just able to do that, like, not as a Kickstarter, but as an actual toy company. And I talked about it briefly with that one in Morristown Armory, where I got the Legendary Warrior figure, like the strong woman character. And I wanted to make sure that I had enough of them, because even though they weren't allowed to include the red-headed head sculpt with that figure, because, she'll look too much like Red Sonja, and I think somebody threatened them with legal action. They sold the red head separately, so I wanted to make sure I had like a couple of extra Legendary Warriors to pop that red head on. I did miss the pre-order for the red head. I'm an idiot. So I am now like searching to try to get one once they go live in the third quarter. But yeah. But on the way to the Shop the Curiosity Toy Show, we start to get a little hungry as we drive by Groton, and I'm like, yeah, let's stop there. They have Taco Bell breakfast. And we got Taco Bell breakfast, but it took a bit of a long time to do it. But the food came out so hot, like so fresh for Taco Bell. It tasted delicious. And I said I was going to give him a shout out. Morning manager Elijah at the Groton, Connecticut Taco Bell. Because we're like, this is the best Taco Bell that we have ever had. We just want to let you know that. And he goes, well, that's because of me. He like totally owned it, and it was great. So that was wonderful. When we got to Shop the Curiosity, I gotta say, huge fire risk. All of these toy shows feel like huge fire risks, and it is insane that, like, as somebody who lives in Rhode Island, and we like experience the station fire, so we kind of understand the value of making sure that there aren't like hundreds of people like tightly packed into these areas. And this was at like a policeman's auxiliary hall. Like, it was a huge like gymnasium, high school gymnasium size space that was legitimately wall to wall people. Like, it was very difficult to get through. The only way I got through is because I wound up behind a woman pushing a stroller, and that cut a beautiful path through the humanity that let me get down to the Four Horsemen booth. And I'm like, how many of the Legendary Warrior figure can I pick up? And he's like, well, how many do you want? And I'm like, I just need 3. And he's like, yeah, 3's fine. And then Dale's like, I need 3 too. And he's like, well, you're 2 separate customers. So he walked out of there with the 6 that we needed to make sure we had them for all the various little projects that we have in mind for that particular figure. And that was good. But then we definitely exited out like a back garage door that was legitimately only open to let in some air and some ventilation. Because there was like no way I wanted to walk back towards the entrance of that hall. It was stressful. It was a very stressful sort of thing. Not as stressful as like the Morristown. Like the Morristown one was not as stressful as that. And I'm like real proud of Dale for like not letting her anxiety about being around people like stop her from having a good time. And so that was nice. And then we went to this place right nearby. First of all, the parking situation was also crazy. They had a guy directing everything, and he legitimately directed me until I backed up into a parked car. And I'm just like, what the hell? like you told me to keep going. Like, so crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Also, I mean, there was no damage. I was going like less than a mile per hour. At the time where like I tapped that car, but I only kept doing it because he said, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. Like, and he yells stop as I feel the car. Like, there were too many people. Like, they need to like limit the people that are going to these events. The road leading up to like the turn into the parking thing was backed up like a mile and a half. It was insane. Are you okay? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
sorry.
Listen to your story.
I know. I appreciate that. So then like, there's all these people and we're hungry again, right? Like we went through that. We went through this ideal and like, we want to stop. So we stopped at this place called Lakeview Pizza Pasta Gourmet, giving them a shout out because that was the type of experience I wanted to have at the toy show. And I ended up having it at the pizza parlor that like was on like the overlook above the police thing. So we walk in and the first thing out of the owner's mouth is, you guys go to that thing over there? Like, yeah, we just came from there. He's like, what is it? What is going on? And it's like, it's a toy show. Like, people are selling toys. There's a bunch of like legitimate companies in like that are not Hasbro or like one of the big three that are like selling their stuff. And it's a good way to get the stuff for like the cost that they think it should be instead of like inflated stuff. He's like, oh, that's cool. Cause like, I've been seeing the insanity there. And like, we've had a couple of people try to park here and then go down and I've yelled at them. And I'm like, yeah, you should. Cause like, that's not, you need this open for customers. He's like, hey, if they bought something, they can park here and go down to the little toy show. But then like, I had on a Super Mario Brothers shirt. So then like when my food was done, cause I ordered a slice, I go up and he goes, Super Mario, that was my fucking jam. Cause it is legitimately Dale, I, and staff who were in this pizza parlor. And he's like, nice. I remember playing, I know the warp zones, I know, and he's like, just telling me about it. It's awesome. And then like the chef who's a little bit older, and I don't know if he's a chef, like this guy, clearly the owner and like he's doing cashier duty, but the guy who's like putting together the pizzas, he's like, I mean, I played Mario, but I was really more of a Pac-Man guy. So him and Dale start riffing on Pac-Man. Like it was such a good, wholesome interaction. And also where I'm just like, yo, I'll have a slice of your buffalo chicken. And he's like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, well, how much is that going to be? He's like, more than you can afford. And I'm like, did I just buy a $500 piece of pizza? No, it was $5. But the guy, he was like that salty sort of like, I'm ribbing you because it's fun to rib my customers type that you don't see that much in the world anymore. Because, I don't know, it was just a wonderful experience. If you're ever in Danbury, Connecticut, stop by Lakeview Pizza Pasta Gourmet. It's just wonderful. It was such a wonderful experience.
Nice.
We also visited the John Oliver sewage treatment plant, and there were just deers standing right in the road who did not give a fuck about my car coming towards them. Not that I was like speeding, like I'm gonna kill these deers.
Great.
But like just like slowing up, like maybe you guys want to move from my car? Maybe nope, you're just gonna stand there? That seems fine. That seems like a perfect thing. So quick stuff. On the 4th of May the 4th be with you, Sejohn. Marshall's, one of the Yellowstone spinoffs, had its third to be continued in 6 weeks. So for eagle-eared listeners at home, that means that they had 6 weeks of 2-part episodes of Marshals. And it was awesome.
I mean, is that just their formula now? Just to do a 2? I mean, because like that's not completely unheard of. You know, like way back in the day, that was stuff that like Doctor Who used to do, right?
Exactly.
Like they would, and then you know, if you looked at them all, you could kind of put them together as like a long form thing, but in general, released in pieces. I mean, like it's definitely a choice, right? It's definitely a specific kind of artistic choice to do that, but I think it's actually kind of a neat thing that to help them kind of stand out a little bit from all the other procedural bullshit that's out there.
So I think the reason they did that was to try to train the audience. I think that people who were watching Yellowstone were watching it on the Paramount Network, right? So cable television, right? Like that, it's not pay cable, but it's still cable entertainment. People have that expectation that it's like serialized storytelling, so they understand that like not everything is going to be resolved at the end of the episode. And like you kind of expect that with like things that are on FX or TNT or TBS, right? Not TBS so much anymore, but like TNT. So I think they did like these 3 2-parters in a row to sort of train the audience that like these episodes are not going to end with everything resolved, because the one leading into the 11th episode into the 12th episode, legitimately, I was surprised that it didn't end with a to be continued, because there was definitely still stuff that was unresolved from the one episode to the next episode. And I'm like, oh, here comes another to be continued. And it didn't happen. And I'm like, oh, but like, if I were somebody who's been watching this show, like I understand that like, oh, that stuff's unresolved, but they're going to take care of it next week. Like it really was an interesting sort of way for them to approach it, because Marshals is the first Yellowstone property that is airing on broadcast television on actual CBS.
Right. So CBS, who's in a fucking mess right now as it is anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so
do you have Colbert on your list or
no, I don't really have Colbert. I was going to talk briefly about him being live from Monroe, and I do have the video if anybody wants it.
So good.
Yeah.
But he's apparently also started doing like a full-on YouTube thing or something like that. I'll have to get more details for next week. But yeah, Colbert's show ended also last month, so we just want to give a nod to that, because it is a shitty way for that show to go out. I don't, for years people have been talking about the death of late night, but it did not need a fucking knife to the neck in order to make it happen.
That was a knife to the heart, man. You say it like you could say they cut the jugular.
Well, no, because we bled out for the last 4 months since they announced it. Just watching it, just
he got shot in the gut at the start of Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
On May 5th, I watched the finale of Rookie Season 8, which has kicked off an interesting thing that I keep seeing online. Sejohn, what is a genre? Not to pop quiz jackass you again, but like, what does genre mean? And why is every show officially changing its genre now that like it's the start of a season or the end of a season? Because it feels like the internet doesn't know what a genre is.
I mean, in general, it's just a way for humans to quickly categorize entertainment, and so that they can understand going in what the rules may be.
Yeah, right, and that's what it is. And the Rookies...
It's nothing more than that. People feel like it should be like biblically held to, and that is when things get really stagnant and boring, in my opinion. But but sorry, go ahead. You were talking about the Rookie.
Oh, yeah. So the Rookie started out basically as a police procedural, right? Had a little bit of an overarching storyline, like that kept you invested, right? Like you'd see like big players in something multiple times, or like you'd notice things that like helped flesh the world out. So season 8 definitely went more sci-fi than we've seen in the past with the Rookie, with a malevolent, later benevolent AI that befriended Nathan Fillion's character. Like, for real. That was a real plot line in Rookie Season 8. There was an episode where...
Sorry, I did. That was not...
No,
wow.
I didn't think you had
Jesus.
that.
I had no idea. I had no idea that's where Nathan Fillion was right now with the Rookie. I thought, I knew the show was still going, and I know that there's people that watch it. I just... Wow. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I really enjoy The Rookie. Like, it is one of the only police procedurals that I continue to watch because it really just makes police work look kind of mundane. And then occasionally they'll have, like, some big thing happen, and I'm like, that's kind of how it is in the real world. Sometimes you're just doing community outreach to make people not afraid of the police in the wake of everything that's happened in this country. So season 8 went a little... They introduced this kid, Asher, who, he's like a little redhead kid. Like, he's like about 15, 16 years old, who's like kind of become a surrogate child to John Nolan and Bailey because they found out that they can't have children. Bailey's unable to have children. So, like, they kind of cousin Olivered this kid in there, but he's fantastic. But then in one episode, when he's doing a ride-along with John, right, because he wants to make a movie, and he's like, I can get some footage while we do it, and I'll also learn what it's like to be a police officer. They got a call to a decommissioned mental institution that had been a set piece earlier in this season or last season. And the people who were, like, tearing down the buildings stumbled upon, like, a pit where a bunch of, like, old medications had been buried. And those medications reacted with each other to create an airborne, like, virus that legitimately turned them into zombies. Like, they did a zombie episode of The Rookie. And that's... And wow! And dude, no, it gets weird. You know how I always complain about the Olympics?
It gets weird.
Like, it's weird that they did a zombie episode and it wasn't just a dream. But know how I always complain about the Olympics episode of Superstore and how it feels like
it's so out of time.
It's an out of time episode, but it introduces a huge plot point in the fact that Mateo is illegally in the United States. That he's not a citizen. Yeah. Lucy, who was another rookie that came up alongside John Nolan, she gets attacked by one of the zombies. And the whole thing is that these people are innocents, right? Like, they were just guys who showed up to do a job, ended up, like, inhaling this aerosolized thing that turned them into zombies. So it's like, we don't want to hurt them, right? They're innocents. We don't, like, try not to shoot to kill, shoot to wound if you absolutely have to. One of them
is it implied that they're going to be able to cure them, or, like, what is the
They are able to figure out a cure. Like, they are able to, like, arrest them and they administer a cure. But Lucy, like, trying to save somebody who they also find on the campus, gets stuck in, like, a sewage tunnel with one of them. And they have a knife, like, the zombie has a knife, and she ends up killing that zombie. And it's the first time that Lucy Chen, in the entirety of the show, again, one of the credits to The Rookie, it's that, like, someone from the first episode, it's the first time that they ever killed anybody in the line of duty. So, like, that becomes a whole big thing of, like, the fact that this is the first life that I've ever taken as a police officer. So they try to give it, like, that emotional weight, but that emotional weight comes from a situation where people were zombified. Like, what the fuck? And then, like, they can't...
This is ridiculous, man. This is the wildest thing you could have ever told me about this show.
So then, like, that guy's sister is suing the LAPD for a wrongful death case, and legitimately, like, they're not allowed to talk about what happened at the mental institution because it's still, like, an open investigation. Like, they're trying to figure out what happened and everything. So, like, Lucy, they can't say to this woman, like, the reason why your brother was killed by Officer Chen was because he was in a feral state attempting to take her life, and she just reacted in that moment, and it unfortunately led to the death of your brother. And then she's, like, told by, like, union brass and everything, like, do not fucking, like, talk to this woman or tell her anything. It would make things worse for you. But then she meets with the woman and she's like, I'm sorry that I had to kill your brother. He was zombified. And the woman's like, oh, I completely believe you. I'm dropping all charges. Like, it was such a big deal for 2 episodes, only to be resolved by a character that we know in the show looking another, like, new character dead in the eyes and being like, I had to kill your brother because he was zombified and trying to kill me. If I had not acted the way that I had acted, he would have taken my life. And then the woman being like, my brother was a zombie? I forgive everything.
Well, I mean, it implies that this is not a new thing in this world.
I know, right?
Like, this idea of like, that happens.
Yeah, right? I mean, to be fair, in Rookie Feds, that was the name of the show, there was definitely some, like, heavy implication that Bigfoot is real. And that they found footage of him and then deleted it so that Bigfoot could, like, keep living his life of anonymity in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, I miss Rookie Feds.
Wild.
But like, so everybody's talking about how, like, The Rookie has officially switched its genre. And I'm like, no, it's still a police procedural. They're just leaning into, like, wacky cases now. Like, the big case was still, like, a whistleblower, played by Bridget Reagan, her name's Monica, like, trying to get out from under the thumb of a big crime boss by, like, turning state's evidence against him. Like, that's, like, basic sort of stuff that happens in a police procedural. Like,
right, exactly.
The genre. Oh, and you know what? Like, the fact that you don't know what John Nolan, Nathan Fillion is doing means that you, Sejohn, missed the crossover episode with Dropout TV. Season 5, episode 10, they got called.
Oh, no. I heard about it because, I don't know, there was a lot of people that were trying to get on their high horse about it because they hate cable television, essentially, and we're just like, I can't believe Dropout, like, agreed to do this episode. It's just what's the propaganda. And, you know, like, at the end of the day, they're actors and they got hired to do a show. It just so happened that it happened, you know, to bring, you know, it just so happened to be their heightened versions of their personalities and things like that. No, I heard about this. I have also seen the dust has now settled on all that. Oh, yeah. This is us going back over May, right? Like, so I don't think that is an ongoing thing, but it was a weird moment.
It was a weird moment
in the Dropout fandom. But, like, yeah, I don't know. It was wild because I understand that there are shows like Law and Order being a perfect example that have really fucked with people's concept of what the police are actually doing out there, right? Like, it is glossed over a lot of problems. Funny enough, shows like NYPD Blue or The Shield were actually, like, really good like, looks into how some of these places were running. Yeah. There's just something about, like, the Rookie, especially now with kind of some of the shit that you've been talking about, like, that it doesn't feel the same as those, right? Like, I'm sure that it glorifies the police, but it probably glorifies the police in much the same way that something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine did. Like, these specific police seem pretty okay, but there are plenty of other bad cops out there and things like that in the world of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And
multiple episodes talking about, like, rot within the LAPD. Like, multiple storylines about guys who have been, like, corrupted by people. Their whole, like, task force, their strike force was dirty. Like, they've done some good episodes about how, like, rot can exist in it. They also do some really good stuff in The Rookie about just how fucking hard it is to become a police officer. Like, it is not something that you can just walk off the street. In fact, John Nolan's original training officer, she got fired from her job because it was revealed that, like, while she was in the foster system, She stayed for an extended period of time with somebody who would go on to become a known criminal, and she did not disclose that information at the time that she was hired. Like, the whole thing is that, like, if you told us that you lived with him in a foster home, there wouldn't be a problem. The fact you didn't makes it feel like you were trying to hide something from us. And, like, you just came up with it, like, crazy shit.
I will say that the important context to put around this exact thought, though, right? The idea that it's hard to become a cop. That's not the case everywhere in this country.
True.
What you're talking about is, I mean, where is the rookie? L.A.? Is that where it is?
It takes place in L.A., yeah. Wilshire.
Yeah, so I mean, you are talking
area.
about a liberal city and a liberal state, right? And like, so that idea that that it's hard, difficult, and like noble to get through the police station is a little bit easier to swallow than, say, like the middle of like buttfuck nowhere, Texas, where there is literally just people that just decide that they're the sheriff. You know,
I love when Sejohn stumbles into the point, because this season. No, last season. It might have been this season. This season was, like, weird. Like, they played, like, 4 episodes and then went on, like, a 3-month hiatus before they came back. So I have, like, the end of 7 and the beginning of 8 a bit, confused in my brain. They introduced a police officer who was a rookie. His name is Miles, and he comes from buttfuck Texas. Like, and he moved to L.A., and the whole thing is that, like, he still has to be a rookie to become this LA cop, and realizing that, like, being a police officer in Los Angeles is so different from what it was in Texas. So they even, like, have addressed that exact thing that you're talking about within the show. And, like, his whole journey from being, like, what he was to who he is now as an officer has been just a joy to watch. Because it is just so self-aware of the exact issue that you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I've always heard really good things about the rookie from the people that enjoy it, not just you on the show, but like, you know, it is a popular one with the grandmas, that kind of show. You know, like, and it is on CBS, right?
It's on
or
ABC.
Is it on ABC?
It's ABC.
ABC.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I mean, it's in that slot. You know, it's getting those people that would just watch anything, but also, you know, there is a large number of that group that is not, you know, they don't mind being vocal when they dislike something, right? And I haven't heard much about that with the rookie. I've heard just good things.
Yeah, the most vocal they've been is that they've switched the genre on the cover of Night. And it's like,
well, and even then, I've just seen nerds who seem to care about that.
Yeah,
like. I haven't seen that being like the normal discourse. Right. I don't know. Did USA Today print like an article about it? And then maybe I'll.
No, it's probably like CBR or Screen Rant, like complaining about that.
Yeah, right.
But like they've also complained about
just citing each other's article as evidence.
Tracker has officially changed its genre before season 4. Rick and Morty season 9 is here. The genre has switched up, and it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, no, it hasn't. Friggin' Tracker is still about a guy looking for lost people, right? They went crazy in the 2nd episode of the 2nd season where aliens were confirmed to be real. Like, nobody's thinking, like, oh, Tracker must be exactly what it's like to track people in this country. And then Rick and Morty is still adult animation that's, like, too nihilistic for its own good.
But I mean, like, is it no longer sci-fi? Because that's the genre.
Right, that's the genre, right? Like, it's science fiction. No, it's still sci-fi. Like, I watched that first episode, and I'm like, that was a fairly basic episode of Rick and Morty. What are you talking about? That the genre has officially switched? Like,
I don't know. There's a lot of people out there who are talking about, like, the ways in which the characterization of somebody like specifically Rick, and like the way that show has explored kind of the concept of toxic masculinity and douchebaggery. Like that's where that conversation comes from, is that the genre has now switched from sci-fi to like this like wag your finger woke male all men are bad type story. So you have a lot of people that are upset at that concept, basically, who never got the joke, right? Remember the Szechuan sauce incident?
Yes, I do.
Even talked about that on this show.
Yeah, because I witnessed the entire some of it.
Point. Yeah, like people didn't realize that like the joke was supposed to be that like fuck that sauce, right? Like, but people were just like begging for it after that, and then they got it, right? Didn't they bring it back for all of like a month, and it didn't do anything. Nobody.
I have 2 full sets of the Szechuan sauce re-releases. I don't have the one from the other thing, but the like black label one that they did, I have some of that in the house. And then they did it like 8 of them that spelled out Szechuan. If you collected all of them, I have that set. Like that. And you know what I did for that? I went to McDonald's and was like, "Can I buy Szechuan sauce?" Like I did not act crazy. I just like walked up to I didn't even walk up. I went up to the drive-thru and I'm like, the Szechuan sauce, could I like just get everything to spell it out? And they're like, yeah, it'll be $2. And I'm like, perfect. Because it's like 25 cents a sauce packet. So I gave them $2. They gave me the S, the Z, and all the other letters. And I have it in a thing. Like, but yeah,
people. I don't know. I'm done with the internet.
No,
Fuck the internet.
Well, I mean, we'll get there. So on the 6th, I rewatched The Devil Wears Prada and then saw The Devil Wears Prada 2. The bulk of what I have to say for May is all right there. I'm gonna skip it. Devil Wears Prada 2. Like I talked about certain things feeling unnecessary. Devil Wears Prada 2 is hyper unnecessary. Like without spoiling it, they
I've
like
heard,
they ruined the legacy of a character and they ruined the legacy of the first film. Like it is the worst type of legacy sequel. And I loved the first Devil Wears Prada, and even rewatching it prior to seeing it, I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. Maybe some of it hasn't aged as well. But again, it's 20 years old. Of course, like, things that we were glorifying in 2006 have changed in those 20 years, right? And a lot of them for the better, right? Like, Andy prioritizing her job over everything else. We now know that that's pretty toxic, and that the corporations are just going to flush you out the door as soon as your usefulness has run out.
Yeah.
So
did we talk about Pixar's layoffs?
No, we have not, but ridiculous amount. Yeah, just crazy.
Well, no, just to that point, one of the people laid off was apparently that woman that saved Toy Story 2 because she had a copy of it at home, and they fucking dropped her.
That's ridiculous.
And to be clear, it was a Disney decision to go through and clean house. But yeah. Anyway, sorry. Just nail in the fucking coffin on that one.
It makes me wish that on her way out, she deleted Toy Story 5 and kept a copy of it on a thumb drive. It'd probably have to be like a multiple terabyte hard drive at this point, but still. Catching up after my day of nothing but The Devil Wears Prada. Also on the 6th, they announced yet another remake of Star Fox 64, this time for the Switch 2. How many times are they going to remake Star Fox 64? The answer is 5 times. But like, and like, spoilers for like what our next episode, one of the things we're going to touch on is like, I want to look at the Nintendo Switch 2's first year and decide if it was a successful one. Right? Develop your theories at the time. But
I will say this. I did just go this past week to basically a LAN party for Switch 2s because I have a few different friends that have them out here, and they were very excited to get a large group of people together to do some of the bigger games on it.
That's kind of
like
cool.
Mario Kart.
That's very awesome.
And so the little bit of interaction that I've had with the Switch 2 myself, because I have not bought one. I mean, that's a whole kettle of fish
other thing.
There
that's for next episode. Right, yeah. But my time with it has been pretty cool. But we'll talk about it more. And my time with it is that I did not want the Star Fox remake, but I ended up pre-ordering it when I found a physical copy that was the same cost as the digital copy. Which is also why I own Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, a game that I'm like, I don't want to play this. It looks awful. But being able to get it physically for the same price as a digital, I'm like, I'm going to do this. And if I'm going to pass judgment on Switch 2, I should probably play all of the Nintendo exclusive games for this system. So, That's it. The real fun thing that happened on the 7th of May was Zach Dyer, friend of the show. He does This Toy Makes Me Happy. He's done a couple of voiceover things for us. I'm a big fan of Zach. I like him a lot. He hid a Liege Maximo of the 13 Primes figure at the Walmart in Seekonk, because I was going to be in that area later in the day. He called me at 8 in the morning to be like, do you want me to grab it for you? Missed that call. Called him back at 9. He's like, I didn't pick it up for you because you didn't get back to me, but I hid it, and here's where I hid it. 7 hours later, I went to that Walmart. It was exactly where he said it would be. And Walmart did not raise their prices on their leader class figures. So I got it for the more reasonable $55 than the like 70 I'm seeing it everywhere else in the world.
Oh,
which,
man.
like, yeah, that's just life. On the 8th, Jamie Presley, Joy from My Name is Earl, joined OnlyFans following the birthday suit of Shannon Elizabeth. Like, OnlyFans is a billion-dollar company now, like multiple billions of dollars. They made $1 billion less than Hollywood last fiscal year. Like, it's kind of crazy. But the crazier thing to me is that, like, Shannon Elizabeth made a shit ton of money in, like, the brief amount of time that she's been on OnlyFans. But, like, it's now Shannon Elizabeth. If I watch American Pie, like, she's just as naked and doing stuff, but like she's younger. And I'm not trying to say like that's, I don't understand the appeal of OnlyFans. That's just going to be the start of it. Like the whole thing, like I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with sex work. I don't, it's just like, I don't think it's something I want to be paying for, if that makes sense, right? First of all, I unfortunately grew up with the internet, and I could find a lot of stuff for just free on the internet. Like, that's just the thing. So, like...
Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely a school of thought to the idea, though, that, like, there are performers in these things and they deserve to be compensated for that work. And, but then you get into conversations about, like, piracy and how does that actually affect the industry. And we learned pretty quickly that actually the more people pirate things, the more often they then turn around and also buy those things. So actually it was good for the industry, but nobody ever wants to talk about that kind of little revelation. Same thing for porn, is that they realized it's why it is so still freely available. And it's because it's the companies that own this stuff, the people making this stuff, knowing that if they put out this 15-minute thing for free on the internet, they are going to get at least a few people to come and buy the 3-hour collection that they have for $60 on Blu-ray or whatever the fuck it is. Like they understand the first taste is free mentality, right? Like that is basically what they are running off of. And OnlyFans, what that gives is it's using all of that same theory, using all of that, is that like you go on Reddit, every other subreddit is somebody's OnlyFans account. Every other comment is somebody linking their own OnlyFans account. It's crazy what's going on in that site in terms of the OnlyFans advertising. Yeah. And so, I mean, YouTube, right? There's people that have like YouTube videos that are like pushing the limit on what you can do on YouTube, but that's as long as they can get away with it, they're going to, and then they link their OnlyFans right in the description, that kind of shit. So like OnlyFans is basically using all of the tactics that porn has used as a business in order to kind of draw people in, and then adding to that a level of assumed intimacy, and it's only assumed, it's not real. Right, it can
real
never be
parasocial relationship development.
Exactly.
Like
so it's combining a lot of the the shittier things about like Instagram and Facebook and like those ways in which we feel like we are suddenly in people's lives just because we're seeing 10 photos of them, and we're like, oh, this explains their whole existence in 10 photos. No, that's not how it works, man. Like and there's no reason why, if two people are in that conversation and both are aware of what that is about, why that cannot be a good, healthy thing. We actually just talked about this at the end of Brendan Fraser History Month, because there's a beautiful relationship in Rental Family. that Philip has with a sex worker that is like touched on, explored just a little bit, but never really dives into. But one of the big things about that relationship is that they do seem to actually have a really good relationship. Whatever they would label it, I don't know. But the relationship that they have with each other is healthy, fun, and is actually kind of adorable, right? And so, like, that idea that can exist is. I believe in that. Like, I believe that there are people out there that this is the way in which they want to interact with this intimate part of themselves, and that should be available to them. My problem is that it's so easy for that to become predatory on all ends. The performers, the people watching, like it can
the
become
site
this really predatory.
like
Yeah, no, it's not. And without any type of like sense of like regulation or anything in any way, but it's such a scary landscape. So like it sucks because I do see the idea, the potential, even the need for it. We talk about the quote unquote loneliness epidemic. I don't know how much we want to like, I don't know enough about the details that people cite for that shit to talk about why that feels wrong to me, but it feels wrong to me. But there is definitely an idea that people are they're realizing that they've spent so much time on their own this last few decades, between the internet becoming a thing, COVID for 5 years, keeping everybody indoors. Like, people are lonely. I don't deny that. And OnlyFans is a path people can take. So I don't want to necessarily say like cut it off, but like I do think that people need to take a good hard look at what's going on there and possibly put some guardrails on that shit.
Yeah, but that always makes me nervous too, like the guardrails on that, because like some of the guardrails that have already happened with it are like banks saying any transactions that are like with us from OnlyFans, we're just holding on to your money. Like the guardrails that we've seen with it are really like hyper predatory, and it's all like to protect the children. Like it's all freaking virtue signaling bullshit, and it's like scary. But I think the really interesting thing is that like in terms of the industry, Hollywood made $7 billion in 2025. OnlyFans made $6 billion. And there's like some other money there, but like let's like round it up and just make it easy to talk about, right? $7 billion.
Well, what's really interesting about that, though, actually, is it cited exactly like that they compare the entire industry of Hollywood to just OnlyFans? Because there are other like sites like OnlyFans out there. We talk about OnlyFans like it's the only thing that exists in that realm, but there are plenty of sites. I mean, you can even pile all of the AI girlfriend bullshit into that too, right? Like, so like that if they made at one company, if one company in that industry made almost as much as the entirety of Hollywood, I think it's pretty safe to assume that is a bigger industry than Hollywood in terms of the entertainment field.
Well, we already knew that with the fact that beta as a format died, right? Everybody tells me that like, oh, what was other things? Like they weren't available and all this other stuff. But it's like, but the real reason that beta didn't survive is the proof is in the pudding with how Blu-ray won, is that beta refused to do adult videos on it. And then they're like, well, then we're just going to buy VHS. We're going to buy VCRs. We're not going to buy beta players. Because we can still get porn on VHS. And that's why Blu-ray, you talk about the $60 multiple hour Blu-ray like sets that are available. Yeah, they're on Blu-ray, right? They were on HD DVD
not
too.
Not HD DVD. Yeah.
But Blu-ray just like Blu-ray hit the ground running with like, you can get porn on us, and everybody's like, well, I'm gonna get a Blu-ray player.
More porn, right? That was the big promise, was that we can fit more movie on here, and the porn industry used that one to their advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, which is like with the whole internet, like, oh, you could have anything. The crazy thing to me about OnlyFans is when they're like, the average performer makes like 6 figures, and it's like, that's the average of everybody. So people like Shannon Elizabeth or Jamie Presley, who are clearing millions of dollars in a week on the platform, like, you compare that to people who probably make like $25 a week on that platform. Yeah, it's going to average out to like $100,000.
Wild.
Like, that's just, it's just such it's an insane thing that's going on. And the fact that we are seeing legitimate Hollywood actresses who are going over to OnlyFans because it's the way to make money. Like Bella Thorne is the whole reason that OnlyFans even took off, because she had an OnlyFans in like the early days of it. I don't know. It's just like, it was just such a thing to see, like, also, you know, American Pie and Not Another Teen Movie. Like, those are two movies that are significant to us here at the Say Report. So, like, it's just a little weird to see all these people from those movies drifting into the OnlyFans space.
I mean, you know, there was always that original concept of OnlyFans that it wasn't necessarily looking to be porn based.
Right.
You know, once it opened the door to porn being available there, it was to your point maybe earlier about the whole thing of VHS and beta, right? The second they let porn in, it flooded the market, and it became the porn website now. Mm-hmm. And like, they tried to make it not the porn website for like a second, and everybody realized what a terrible idea that was, because it was going to cut like 90% of their content. And so like, they're like, shareholders were like, what the fuck are you doing?
Not only 90% of their content, 95% of their revenue. Like, those were the numbers. Like,
yeah, so they were just like, yeah, no, we're not going to cut the porn after all. And so it just became the porn thing. So, I mean, there is something to be said that, like, in the ethos of what OnlyFans was always trying to do, I can see the appeal of joining in an app that is set up to create a revenue stream for yourself by you just simply meeting your fans, right? And as a performer, it just so happens that you're going to be surrounded by porn people, and they're going to probably expect you to be doing something somewhat porny. That's when I say that it becomes really exploitive, right? Is because then it becomes this feeling of, this is my way to get revenue, is to meet people like this and connect with them and provide that connection. And in return, they provide a little bit of cash my way, and it grows and it grows. It now becomes, no, this person is expecting like a certain level of sexuality to this that I have to just kind of give into if I'm going to use this platform. And that is such low level kind of like, sorry, but you have to do it kind of pressure. But there are much bigger things putting that kind of pressure on people. But like, it doesn't help, right? That OnlyFans basically is you're only going to be successful here if you do something a little naughty. It's like, sucks. It's like, okay, fine.
Well, it's exactly what like Twitch is doing with like all the banning that they're doing of their more like naughty like stuff. Like when someone finds a new naughty meta to get viewers, Twitch tends to shut it down because they don't want it to be a company where like you have to be wearing green screen underwear and streaming the game you're playing on your ass. Like they don't want that to be what the meta becomes. So that like people, like regular people who are just there playing video games and talking about it.
I mean, to talk about some real trends that they've actually put a big clampdown on. There was a really big trend early on to do topless, not completely topless, but like, you know, down to your lingerie style bra that I'm sure you wear every day. But anyway, they would do those kinds of like Let's Plays, right? And that would draw in a lot of people. They put a stop to that pretty quick. There was a really wild time where because of some of the wording, you could get away with bathing suits, but they had to be being worn in the act of actually doing something worthy of a bathing suit. Yep. And that's where the hot tub streams then came from. There was a lot of that kind of stuff going on that they kind of were chasing for a while. To my knowledge, they haven't gotten any better at it. It seems like all I ever hear about is them banning the wrong people and completely missing all of the ones that are actually breaking the rules.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, like you say, to talk about actual things, the green screen on your butt, that is real. That's a real thing that happened. Yeah. I want to make sure that happened. And then the latest one.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, like, so green screen on the butt, like wearing like that specific color of green shorts and streaming on your butt. There was also on the chest, right? Like wearing a top that was that. So like Mario's running between your breasts as you play Super Mario Brothers. And then the latest trend of like green screen on the body was I don't remember the streamer's name, and I feel bad about that, but she did Dark Souls. She painted the bottoms of her feet that green screen color and played Dark Souls on the bottoms of her feet.
Nice.
And all three of those have like Twitch has like modified their terms of use to be like, you cannot stream on your ass, you cannot stream on your chest, you cannot stream on your feet.
Oh man.
So, but the only reason I bring that up, as much fun as it is like to laugh at that insanity, that is so that Twitch can avoid being a platform where people feel that sort of like necessity to lean into whatever the popular meta is to get views. So it's not like weirdly coercive in how to still generate revenue from it, which, you know, for better or for ill, right? Like,
right.
All right. This now stuff is quick. On the 9th of May, I finished the second and final season of Going Dutch, the latest live-action Fox sitcom to fail. Is real good. I hope that all like the newer actors in that show like find other shows to work on. Like Danny Pudi and Dennis Leary, they're gonna land on their feet. But like the like specifically Hal Cumston, I want him to be in another show because he was hilarious in that. As like, I'm in the army because I'm an IT guy, and because of that, they've sort of let me slack on like meeting the physical requirements or having short hair. Like it was, there was an interesting character. It was a fun show, right? It was in like the vein of like a Sergeant Bilko or like a, no, not really Major Payne, but like one of those ones where, you know, they were located in like Amsterdam.
McHale's Navy.
Yeah, McHale's Navy. Like we're located at like not a combat base, but like a support base. I also think about Unenlisted, maybe that was it, or Enlisted.
Enlisted.
It might have just been Enlisted with like Keith David and the Jesse from How I Met Your Father, where like they were at a Florida army base and basically they did laundry and motor pool were their like main goals there. Like that type of stuff that like tries to, you know, put like laugh at some of the stuff about the military. Going Dutch was good, and I really do hope that like all of the actors from that find other projects. And I think that with 2 seasons under their belt, they will. On the 10th of May, I found out what might be my new favorite way to play Link to the Past Randomizer. That's right, we're going back to Link to the Past Randomizer. That's called Ganon Hunt. Again, Ganon Hunt. It's a Triforce hunt, but instead of just ending when you collect the final Triforce piece or requiring you to go run to the NPC and tell him I found all the Triforce pieces, once you hit the number, you go fight Ganon. Like the top of the pyramid is open from the beginning, and as soon as you're able, like as soon as you get 40 Triforce pieces, that's the default, you can go fight Ganon. So it really just kind of changes what you're looking for. It really has reinvigorated my love for the game, these Ganon hunts.
Well, I assume that it's Ganon who is still weak to this, to like, what is it, like the silver arrows?
Exactly.
And things like that, right?
Yeah.
So like, it does also kind of put the fire under your ass to find that sort of stuff as well, right?
The big thing that I want to find, in addition to the 40 Triforce pieces, is 3 swords upgrades, right? I want to be on like at least the tempered sword, because otherwise you can only do damage to Ganon with like spin slash with the master sword. And I can pretty much clear the Ganon fight like without any issue using the tempered sword. So even if I don't have the silver arrows, I'm okay with it. Like, so it's 40 Triforce pieces, which is going to require you to find a lot of the inventory, because you're going to probably have to get into every dungeon at some point in order to get to that number.
Doing all that, right?
Yeah. But it really, reinvigorated like a joy for the Link to the Past Randomizer, that particular mode. On the 11th, I beat Mayhem Brawler on Steam with Claude as part of the Beat 'em Up Boys. The writing is not great in that game, and the hit detection is not great in that game, but it did lead us to try the demo for Mayhem Brawler 2, which is incredible. That game's not out yet. They're saying it'll come out sometime this year, but and I'll probably keep playing Mayhem Brawler to get all of the achievements. In fact, I have cleared it at least one more time. Which I'll admit. I also booted up Star Fox Assault on my GameCube, and I forgot how much that game rips. Like, it's a good game. Like, maybe just give us a new Star Fox game and not just continued remakes of Star Fox 64. I'm just going to say it, Nintendo. Also, Little Nemo and the Guardians of Slumberland, that game that came out like across stuff, it finally got Steam achievements on the 11th of May, maybe a little bit before that. And in my first playthrough of the game, I unlocked 27 of 47. And I think with little effort, I should be able to finish the rest. And finally, on the 11th, this was a pretty big day for me. I finished the first season of The Righteous Gemstones. That show was hilarious. Really, really enjoyable.
My family's big into it. I got my mom and dad specifically are very into it.
Yeah. I can't believe how much.
Have you seen any of their other stuff that they had done together, like Vice Principals and things like that?
I did watch Vice Principals. I loved Eastbound and Down. Like, Danny McBride is just fantastic. And the fact that he, like, keeps getting, like, work with HBO to do these, like, just absurd stories.
Well, and I think, like, teaming up with Walton Goggins, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
huge.
For 2 shows now has been such a fucking delight. Oh, yeah. I have not watched Gemstones in any particular order. I've just watched a couple of episodes when my family's been watching it, and it's definitely something I can see myself getting into. It's just honestly, just who has the fucking time with everything else?
Yeah. No, trust me. Like, we watched that first season of Righteous Gemstones, and then we're like, as much as I would just love to go into season 2, we need to catch up on the other stuff we're watching before we start season 2 of The Righteous Gemstones. Like, that needs to be like a reward for not having like 7 other shows spinning like plates for us to watch.
Man.
On the 12th, I woke up with a tummy ache, and it made me have the random thought of, do kids still get to go to the nurse's office to lie down while they're in school? And honestly, if they do, you're just setting these kids up for failure, because as an adult, I can't be like, I'd like to go to the nurse's office and lay down for like an hour. Right? Like, was that a thing that happened for you?
I do believe that if you're not feeling well, you are allowed to, maybe call out of work for the day and stay lying down in your own bed, right? You just don't necessarily have that option as a child because you need to be in a, somewhere where adults can keep an eye on you. But as an adult, you have that ability to to just do that.
I feel like I could do it
not know that you were allowed to do that?
No. Look, I feel like if I'm sick at home before I go to work, you should not go to work if you're sick. But if you start to feel sick while you're at work, it feels real weird to be like, I'm going to go home. Like that whole, like, sort of exactly what I was talking about with, like, The Devil Wears Prada, where, like, oh, you'll be letting down the team if you go home because you're not feeling good. Like, you should have not come in.
I will say this. I have never felt that way. I have definitely gone home early from work when I've not felt good.
I have too. But it's just one of those situations where, like, also as a kid, it's like, I kind of just like need a rest. And you're supposed to get that stuff, but I just don't know how much you actually get that. Of course, my jobs are very different from other people's jobs, and I do understand that.
Yeah, I mean, part of the math here is that my job for the last 5 years has allowed me to work from home.
Yeah,
so for me, calling out because I don't feel well is literally just a matter of just getting on Slack, telling my boss I'm signing off, and then rolling into bed.
Yeah. Only recently have I had the ability to work from home because they finally gave me a laptop, and that laptop allows me to do everything from the home space. So that's kind of awesome. My Steam controller arrived on the 13th of May. I love the Steam controller. It's so bad. That's a callback.
Rad.
It's such a good controller. And legitimately, everybody's like, I can't believe it's $100. My DualSense Edge was $200 and does not have all the bells and whistles of the Steam controller. The only real complaint I have about it, I've used it for a lot of games, a lot of beat 'em ups, a lot of platformers. I've put it through its paces. And the big complaint is that it really only works within Steam. It's not like a universal controller, but there's beautiful things on GitHub that totally allow you to use it for everything. But even those solutions, you need to have Steam at least open. That's a bit of a resource hog. So if you're like sort of redlining on being able to run stuff with Steam open, you're probably not going to be able to like use the controller that way. But it doesn't look like new controllers are coming anytime soon. So I feel like I'm part of the elite when it comes to having
Nice.
a Steam controller. I also got new sunglasses on the 13th, and I'm here to announce that I have started a different pair of glasses for each day of the week. So if you see me out in the world, take notice of my glasses and the day of the week. I also have a weekend pair that we call my double dragon glasses, because mine are red and Dale has the same pair in blue. So we're kind of like Billy and Jimmy Lee, but only at our glasses level. Because it's fun being crazy, Sejohn. It's fun being crazy.
What are you, halfway through the
month? I'm about halfway through the month. On the 14th, I saw Mortal Kombat 2. Remember just how good the first Mortal Kombat movie was. Mortal Kombat 2 was also a really good movie, like, including Johnny Cage was great. There's, like, one part in the movie that, like, narratively was supposed to have a lot of punch, and it just doesn't. Because, I know how video games work. Like, yeah. I also rewatched Weird, the Al Yankovic story. That's such a lovely film. I just love that movie. And cleared two more Ganon hunts of Link to the Past randomizer. And now, Sejohn, we get to, you get to, I mean, you've been participating. I've enjoyed having you here. I'm sorry that I'm kind of like doing this whole read through. But I sent you a package last Sunday. Do you have any of them with you in your studio right now?
Yeah, they're actually still in the gorgeous box that they came in.
Yeah, right? Turns out that the Masters of the Universe movie that releases on Friday, June 5th, so 4 days after this episode releases, we are not getting sponsored by them at all. In fact, I think if Amazon heard this, like, I know Jeff Bezos is a fan, but I don't think they'd be happy with some of the stuff I'm going to say about them.
Because we're always just so shining and glorifying them as it is.
But like Amazon MGM being the party behind the Masters of the Universe movie has really allowed them to do a lot of like Amazon exclusive tie-ins in terms of figures and things. And that box set that I sent you is exactly that. It's an Amazon exclusive. So yeah. But on the 15th, after buying that box set for myself, and we'll save that box set for the end of this, on the 15th, I feel a little bit guilty about what I did on the 15th of May. I went to a Target looking for the high-end version of the Masters of the Universe figures, what they're calling Chronicles figures. They're highly articulated figures, right? With deluxe articulation. That's what's written on the box. And there was nothing on the shelves, but there were a bunch of pallets of like things that needed to go out on the shelves. Now, I don't know if people know this about me, and I guess I'm going to reveal this on the show. I have colors for every day of the week. Like, I try to fit a specific color palette. It ties in with the glasses that I chose, right? And Friday's color palette is red. So the 15th of May was a Friday, and I walk into Target wearing a red shirt that I'm going to wear at work. And I don't know if you've been to a Target lately, but red is the color that their staff wear. So I'm walking through the toy department, and I see at the top of the pallet, so I don't have to do any digging or anything, the box of the Chronicles He-Man figures. So I'm in my red shirt looking like I worked there. I grab that box. I bring it down to aisle where there's like, where it's set up for them to go. I stocked the shelves, but I took for myself the two short packed figures from the wave, which is Triclops and Man at Arms.
Nice, man.
So that was real fun.
Good.
That was really, really fun to do. But I have to say this, if you're going to call it deluxe articulation, I need thigh cuts on the figures. I need the ability to rotate the legs. Like, that feels a little weird that I can't do it. I know that, like, that will interrupt the sculpt and everything, but deluxe articulation allows me to manipulate the leg at the thigh. I'm just going to be honest with you. But we'll get to it as we talk to more. On the 16th, I buckled down to try to finish Pragmata because I wanted to be done with it before Mina the Hollower came out on May 29th. On the 17th, I finally got to go to one of these secret Connecticut weddings I always joke about, because it seems like all my Connecticut friends like get married and then later down the line have a fake wedding ceremony with a real reception. It's just crazy to me. I don't know what to tell you. I also got to eat at Hell's Kitchen after that whole thing, because they have one at Foxwoods. That's an experience. Have you ever been to a Hell's Kitchen, CJ?
There was one in Vegas, but we didn't go. We didn't eat. We did poke our heads in because we wanted to see the place, but we did not sit down to eat there.
It's kind of crazy how it's just a Hard Rock Cafe, but about Gordon Ramsay. Like it's
yeah.
But the food was incredible. Like I totally understand why he gets so mad if the scallops are under or overcooked, because mine were perfect and they were delicious. I also got to see a friend of mine's band play at the Boomerangs Roadhouse where we were last November. It was a 60s cover band. They were excellent. Like, it was the busiest I've ever seen that venue. Like, I walked in and they're like, there are no seats available unless you can find a stool at the bar. Because every table was reserved. And it was just awesome. These people, that band usually plays at like VFW halls. This is one of their first like venues and one of the first times like this deep into Rhode Island. Really happy that I got to see it. On the 18th, I bought tickets to see the Mandalorian and Grogu on the 21st of May. And I didn't realize there was a whole season of the Mandalorian I hadn't watched. So I began binge protocols to get through the third season of the Mandalorian.
Nice.
And I did it. I got through it, and I saw the movie. Let's see. On the 19th, I had to get my car inspected, and that was done real early in the day. So I had taken the whole day off to get my car inspected. I ended up at work by 11 a.m., and that kind of was nice. No, I still got to work. I got a lot of work done and that, but and my car passed inspection. That felt pretty good. Not going to lie. On the 20th, I got my hands on an Origins Masters of the Universe He-Man. So, that's a $21 figure. The Chronicles figure is $27. The Origins one is $21. The Origins figure is not worth $21. That's what I'm going to say. That's like a $15 price point. Going up to 20 does not, and he comes with nothing. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover with He-Man from I think like the last 2 years, those figures were roughly $15 a piece, except for the deluxe ones that were like $20 and came with Build-A-Figure pieces. And all of those ended up getting clearanced out because it was like exclusive deals with Walmart and Target, and they just didn't sell because nobody could find them. It was weird. It was sort of a weird way how that worked. But the Origins version of the movie He-Man, he looks good, but he's just an Origins figure. And in terms of, articulation, I have it written down somewhere. Where did I put it in? Was I smart? Did I put it in Say Report stuff? Nope, those are... Oh, I gotta talk about Pop-Tarts. That's how we're going to end this whole thing, is talking about Pop-Tarts. I don't have the information that I wrote down. That's because, there was some difficulties in how you would determine points of articulation. The Deluxe Articulation Chronicles, I counted about 27 points of articulation. 14 for each of the arms, 12 for each of the legs, and then the head and what you can do with the head, and maybe a torso thing. I might have even been 28. The Origins figure has 20. It has it doesn't have the same torso articulation. So you're not really getting what you paid for. And then we can finally talk about the core class, which are the figures that I got. Have you gotten them out of the box at all? Have you messed around with any of those figures?
Oh, no, I've just been opening the box and just looking at them for the last 4 days.
They are the best value. That box set was $37, and the figures on their own are $10. So, buying that comes with the Skeletor in there is an exclusive that has a cloth cape as opposed to, a plastic cape. And it's so far the only way that you can get Goatman. And Goatman just looks like one of the demons from Little Nicky. So I'm so happy to have him. He's so beautiful. But those figures, in terms of the detail of the scope and the playability, articulation-wise, they have about, I think it's like 12 or 14 points of articulation, but I can just do so much with them. And the fact that they're basic and affordable make them the best figures that are tying into this movie. There's been a lot of discourse about how difficult it would be for grandma to like figure out the characters that like you want to get for your kid. Like, I want a He-Man figure, and then they go to the store and they're looking at 3 different types of He-Man figures. But luckily, the kid's not going to be disappointed if they get the $10 one, right? The one that when we were younger would have been relegated to like drugstore toy is the best one out there in terms of just the look, the accuracy of the look, and the playability.
Nice.
So it's really good.
Thank you for it.
Oh, you're very welcome. And that's not why I'm bringing it up. I appreciate that. Thank you. But like, just straight up, the reason I got it is because they're such good figures. And you're like, I'm interested in this movie, and I'm like, I think he'll enjoy having this little set to decorate his life with. Yeah. Also, I saw Is God Is on the 20th, and I've raved about that movie already, even though we're supposed to be talking about Brendan Fraser History Month. It's also done better than Over Your Dead Body, which that makes me happy, because I think it's still in the top 200. Let me check that just real quick, as I fail to find it anywhere. Maybe it's not. Yeah, it looks like it's dropped to about the 201 spot. But go see Is God Is if you get the opportunity. I don't know why it didn't have better marketing or anything like that. It was just such
the marketing it did have
film.
kind of ruined it, didn't it?
Yeah, it definitely did, because it revealed somebody who was in it that the movie takes painstaking length to keep their identity a secret. And that's all I'll say about it. On the 21st, I finished the 3rd season of Mandalorian and Grogu, and then saw the movie. I think that I have just enough knowledge about Star Wars to be dangerous and not become a toxic fan, because I really liked the Mandalorian and Grogu. And legitimately, like, I found the first part a little bit boring, but that's because I just watched the 3rd season, and sort of the first part of it is a lot of recap about what happened up to that point, and I had just spent the week watching that. Like, there's still some good action in there, but like the story-wise, just feeling a little weird. Also on the 21st is when I got my copy of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book for the $50 price tag that you can get it digitally directly from Nintendo. So that seems to have backfired for Nintendo, because people prefer physical copies of Nintendo games, and all these companies are like, yeah, we'll let you pre-order it for $50 and then raise the price to the $70 MSRP. We can talk about it. I still have not completed Pragmata as of the 21st. On the 22nd, we watched Quiz Lady on Hulu, specifically Only Mom and Me, because I was working from home that day. We did it at lunchtime. And the reason why is that the new, and as of this recording, current Jeopardy champion, Chris D'Angelo, his sister Jen D'Angelo wrote that film, and apparently the character that Awkwafina is playing on it is based on this Chris D'Angelo fella. So, like, Hulu is where you can watch Jeopardy the next day, so it does feel a bit like some weird cross-promotion. That movie was a little bit of a mess. The script was kind of messy. Overall, a very enjoyable experience. But it has some of that stuff that we see that I've noticed in like modern comedies, where like, here's a crazy thing that's not even related to anything to get a laugh, and then we'll get back to the plot. And it just like a delicate balance of that can work, and it just was not balanced with those.
Yeah.
Let's see. Early morning Pragmata on the 23rd, and then I had lunch and drinks at Twin Oaks, and the rest of the day was a wash because I got drunk at lunch drinks. I'll just be honest about that. Last Sunday, early morning Pragmata, then we did a Rental Family episode. Enjoyable Memorial Day Eve. I played some Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, and I watched some episodes of Elsbeth. And it was also the first week I did not watch the new episode of Real Housewives of Rhode Island, because I really did not like how the 8th episode ended. Sejohn, we probably shouldn't do production stuff during an episode, but after the whole season's done, do we want to maybe look at the Real Housewives of Rhode Island a little bit?
Sure, why the fuck not? I am down. I'm in.
It's all right, cool. So there's something to really look forward to. On the 25th, which was Memorial Day, another early morning Pragmata session that went 2 hours longer than expected, because the 4th biome of the game immediately feeds into the 5th biome of the game, and it makes it feel like time is of the essence. So it felt wrong to stop, even though I hit what would have been a natural stopping point. And then we watched You, Me, and Tuscany, which I really wanted to like that movie. The trailers, the marketing made me feel like I'd really enjoy it, but the script was really kind of awful. And all the characters were these one-note caricatures that just... I kind of felt a little dirty after watching it. And I'm sad that that's my report on You, Me, and Tuscany. Because, I thought it was going to be... I've seen some pretty good rom-coms this year, right? Is that a freaking pigeon? I've watched Reminders of You multiple times. And, You, Me, and Tuscany just did not do it for me. Let's see. I had a doctor's appointment on the 26th, so early morning Pragmata section. I am now at the final section of the game. I've 100% all the sections leading up to it. I should be able to finish Pragmata before Mina the Hollower releases on the 29th. That's where I'm at on the 26th. And then we saw The Sheep Detectives, which was real fun. It was a fun movie, but I don't know who the film was for. Had real Mr. Megorium energy, is what I'm gonna say.
I mean, I will say though, my family has seen it and raved about it. I have friends out here that have seen it and raved about it. You have seen it and raved about it.
Loved it. Yeah.
Unlike Mr. Megorium, I do feel like this movie is at least getting seen.
Yes, that's a very fun way to put that. But yeah, it had a lot of heavier themes in it, and I don't think it's a kids movie. It really does feel like it's just a movie, and it just happens to have talking sheeps in it, which is just talking sheep. You don't put an S on the end of the word sheep.
Sheepo.
Sheepi. Sheepi. No, just sheep. Sheep to pie. I rewatched the Super Mario Galaxy movie because it released on digital on the 27th. Yep. It didn't hold up as well for me in the second viewing. A lot of the reference spotting was what brought me for the first time. Still super excited for the third movie, which is going to include Daisy. Also, it was either the 26th or the 27th that it officially has made more money than the Minecraft movie. Speaking of, they just announced the sequel, didn't they, for Minecraft? Yeah, the Minecraft movie.
Squared?
I saw that. Yeah, or another Minecraft movie or a Minecraft sequel. What the heck is it called? Let me look it up because I
thought it was Minecraft Squared. Yeah, I thought
that's a great title.
Maybe I'm.
Hold on. The Minecraft. Excuse me. A Minecraft movie Squared. That was not what was written when I saw that 2 days ago. It was just a Minecraft sequel. I think a Minecraft movie Squared is a much better title for it. I'm not going to lie to you.
I agree.
But as of the recording, Minecraft, $960 million worldwide. Super Mario Galaxy, $984 million. Way to go, Super Mario Galaxy.
And it's did we talk about the fact that it's still in theaters, at least out here? There is still theatrical runs of that movie at pretty much all of the theaters out here. There's only 1 or 2 showings a day, but it's still going. And so in theory, we could see it cross the $1 billion mark, putting it right up there with its predecessor.
I would not be surprised if we see it past the $1 billion mark. Honestly, once this weekend reports, I believe it's going to be over. Let's see, because what did it make? Come on, give me a day. I'll look domestically. The last day that they have recording of is Thursday the 28th, and it made $245,000. So, and last weekend, what it was making was about $1 million a day. So, yeah, I think it'll pass it. But even if it doesn't, like, it's closer to $1 billion than the Minecraft movie was. And by the end of last year, you can hear me talk about it on the show. I was tired of people saying that the Minecraft movie was $1 million movie. Because it was $1 billion movie. Because it wasn't. It just wasn't. Like, sorry. Let's see. On the 28th, I watched the first episode of Spider Noir. How are you doing, Spider Noir, Sejohn?
I was going to, and this is going to be a conversation too long for right now.
That's
but
fine.
I'm having some struggles with their choice to release it both in black and white and in color. But like I said, we could talk about this more when we actually have some time to break that down.
Well, what I will say, just before we get there, their intended thing is to watch it in black and white and then in color. Like, there have been articles written about that. I think the fact that when you're given the choice, the default is the color is like, it's 100% the artist and the like streaming company not having a conversation that is a necessary conversation. I also think it's weird that they released it in black and white and color at the same time. Because all we hear about these ones that were like, they release all at once, you can watch all episodes today, is that they're generally watched and then forgotten about in the zeitgeist. If they had only released the black and white version and then 2 weeks later released the color version, then that would have been a much smarter marketing campaign. So,
and it also is a very specific way to let the audience know this is the way we intend you to watch it, right? Is with the black and white being there first. But even that would have resolved, I think, some of my issues with this conversation. But again, I don't.
No, it doesn't need to go longer than it. But one of the things is that they did attempt that because it's true color. So understanding that we made this in black and white. These are the true colors that we had to use on set to get the contrast that we wanted. There's a specific scene that it's from the first episode. I'm not going to reference further than that, but a specific still from the first episode that is being referenced across social media as he's not wearing the color they say that he's wearing. And it's that's why you should watch it in black and white first. It's real weird that they gave you the option to watch it in color, because studios and movie makers, they're just so fearful of the audience these days with all the we need to recap the whole movie every 5 minutes that's going on, and this people won't watch a black and white film. What the fuck? Why are we so fearful of the audience? And the reason is because they're the ones who make money come in. So now we get to 529. Pragmata and Yoshi are still not complete as Mina the Hollower drops at midnight. I play from midnight till 7 a.m. and am still awake as I type this entry into the journal at 6:30 p.m. After bringing Mom to a very positive doctor's appointment, she was nervous that she might have hurt her leg, but nothing showed up in any of the scans. I returned home and I beat my second dungeon in Mina the Hollower. Which that does mean, people who are listening at home, I played for 7 hours and I only completed a single dungeon. But, Devon Decker disclaimer, in true Devon Decker fashion, the second dungeon I completed is the intended 6th dungeon of the game. Which, to give you just a little bit of context for that, you're not supposed to be able to get to that dungeon until you've beaten the other 5 dungeons.
Did you get there with all of the assists that they've built in?
I have not turned on any of the assists or any of the hardeners or any of the weird... I didn't work with any of the modifiers. I'm playing it full, like, normal, like, intended mode my first time through. I just use, like, the move set to get over the, like, rainbow bridge that is supposed to, like, make itself full as you find these locations. Like, with only one rainbow switch active, I was able to get over there. And I was able to beat it. But, yeah.
Yeah, it speaks to the big criticism that people were giving that game to give context even before the game was out, which is why it was kind of controversial that people were kind of just going down this path. But the criticism that it was not going to be able to be well balanced because of all of the assist possibilities in it, which was a shitty thing because like there should always, you know, more and more assist, like, you know, things like colorblind corrections and you know, the ability to change the size of UI, you know, due to is I think a really big one in that regard. You know, subtitling, you know, that sort of stuff. That stuff should all be available for people, but making it toggle, you know, putting it on a toggle so that you can turn it on and off is, I think, a very legit way to do that, because I know that there are people that don't need that stuff and don't want that stuff in what they're looking at. Hell, there are people that would play without a HUD if you gave them the option. Often do when given the option. And so, like, I didn't love that conversation, right? Like, just because there was like assistance in there, but one of the big technical like things that they would lean on when people were complaining about that is, how are you going to balance this game properly with all of these options? And that was an interesting conversation. And from what you're saying right now, it sounds like maybe they didn't.
No,
because like like they clearly had to make certain things be able to be done in certain ways depending on what you did or didn't have, which is what the conversation was about, right? And this feels like a huge, like, kind of thing to like miss this. If you were not supposed to be able to get across, how in the hell did they allow that to happen? Yeah. Did it affect much? Because I do know that like part of the marketing is that they're like, you can go in any direction you want type stuff.
So here's the thing. I think I've completed 2 dungeons out of order. Like, just like 100%. Like, the first dungeon I beat really felt like this is the dungeon you're supposed to beat first. Like, everything is like, you need to go east of town and find this area. Like, it's not really hand-holdy, but it, like, you know, in Link to the Past, where they're like, you have to go to the Eastern Palace. You have to go to the Eastern Palace. Any NPC you talk to points you towards the Eastern Palace as the first place you need to beat in Link to the Past. Very similar vibes at the start of Mina the Hollower. Like, you need to go to the crypt. The crypt is where you should start. And then when I beat that level, there was like a cutscene after it that was like her writing a letter to somebody about everything that was going on. Slight spoilers for Mina the Hollower. I just want to make sure that we say that so anybody's aware of that. And then, like, I was working towards what feels like the second dungeon you're supposed to be, like, pointed towards. Because everybody's like, this is the area you should be heading towards. This is what you should be looking for. You should be heading towards the swamp. The swamp seems to be the next place that you need to get to. And it was in the swamp that I found my entrance into, like, the Rainbow Road area. And that was through, like, I clearly found the area I was supposed to go to continue clearing the swamp. But I'm like, but there's that door down there to the left. I should see what's down there. And that led to a boss fight. And then that boss fight behind that boss fight led to this whole, like, Rainbow Road sort of area where you're told somebody shut off all the switches. We'll have to activate all of them in order to get back to the ornery. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's something. And I'm like, well, I have this one activated. How far can I get with this one? And then I found myself in a dungeon. And it's legitimately the type of dungeon. When's the last time you played Minish Cap? Is a real question just asked you.
I mean, I have played it twice in the last 3 years, actually.
All right, cool. So you know how, like...
I think we talked about this.
Yes.
I actually played it for the first time a few years ago and really enjoyed it. And you and I had a conversation because it was not one of your favorites.
But one of the things in Minish Cap that sticks with me and that I actually do kind of enjoy is that once you beat the 4 like main dungeons of that game and then you go to Hyrule Castle. It's kind of this gauntlet that tests everything you've learned up to that point in the game. Like, it does this, like, really good job of, like, making sure you are paying attention throughout the rest of the Minish Cap. They kind of do it in Ocarina of Time as well. I don't think, like, Ganon's Tower doesn't feel like it does it, I suppose what I'm
I think Wind Waker has some stuff that also feels like you kind of have to employ, like, the barrel hiding that you learn
true.
early on. But I know what you mean, though. Minish Cap, though, is I mean, I think it's what makes me like Minish Cap so much. It is a tight, solid Zelda experience. Yes. And, like, to me, this feels like one of those, like, not commandments. I don't feel like you need to necessarily, like, abide by this rule, but it is one of those things that makes a Zelda game like a Zelda game for me, right? It is that idea that you're using the equipment you've picked up, and in theory you're building it up. So sometimes you do have to go back to stuff you already have, but it's okay because you've gone through and maybe you've leveled it up by now, so it's okay to use it. Like, the inventory concept of Zelda games is, I think, like a huge part of the formula, right?
Yes, I agree. It's a huge part of what makes a Zelda game a Zelda game. It's part of my issue with something like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, is because you get everything at the beginning, so you like, the build is only for, like, the first hour or so, and then it's, now that you're built up, you can do whatever you want in the world. And that's just,
but I think that's because they include the concept of, like, weapon upgrading kind of in that flow, which, if that's not something you're into doing right in that game, then it's not worth it.
I've played through both of them and I enjoyed my time with both of them. I can't believe how much time I put into Tears of the Kingdom. Like, just straight up, I'll say that anytime this topic comes up. But but this 6th dungeon in Mina feels like that gauntlet one that's testing you on how to do everything. And it being the 2nd dungeon that I got to, I instead learned it all there, which was cool. But now that I've gone and completed 2 other dungeons, it's like, I know how this works already, because I did it in the dungeon that was supposed to be like, do you remember this from the 2nd dungeon? Do you remember this from that? And so then, so then the 3rd one I beat was that swamp dungeon that I was working towards throughout most of the game. Where I found, until I stumbled upon the 6th dungeon, and after that one there was a cutscene. But before, like, there was a small cutscene before the 6th one, and it, like, legitimately felt like it was like, it felt like it was an end game sort of cutscene. Like, why are you doing this? And again, spoilers, I know that you want to decommission the spark generators, but we can't just shut them off. That would do more damage to the land. We need them all running, and then we need to shut them down properly. Like, just unplugging them from the wall is going to do damage. We need to shut them down properly. And it's like, and that's like sort of the whole thing. But then, like, the 4th dungeon that I beat, the conversation with the person prior to the fight, like, it's like they never had that conversation. Like, Mina the Hollower is such an open world that it should not have a, like, way that you're supposed to complete it, but it very much
site-specific cutscenes is probably not the best idea.
Yeah. Like the cutscene I got after beating the 3rd bog, and I don't know. I mean, like, that entry on the 29th ends with, I don't think I like the game. And, like, one of the main, like, things to that is that I was going to buy it on Steam so I could play it while I was waiting for my mom at the doctor's, right? And all the tests that she was having done. And I'm just like, I don't want to spend $20 more on this game right now. Like, I'm not enjoying it to that level. Where, like, Shovel Knight, I beat Shovel Knight on every platform that Shovel Knight was available on. Cyber Shadow, not only did I beat it on every platform it was available on, I was an active speedrunner of that game. Granted, that had to do a lot with the pandemic and working from home when that one came out. So every night I would do, like, 2 runs of the game while Call Your Mother, like, episodes played in the background.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's always context for when
Yeah.
things hit and when things don't. I mean, like,
And I think
I don't think that makes it any less of
right.
an experience.
And I think I did myself a bit of a disservice with Mina the Hollower in terms of like hyping it up myself. Like, I was very excited because it was another Yacht Club game, but it was a Yacht Club game that I didn't go to PAX and have conversations with the developers about it and have things like that. Like, this is one of the sequel. And I was really bummed because it was supposed to come out Halloween of last year and it got delayed like 6 months before, because they're, and it's because Yacht Club is afraid if this game does not succeed, Yacht Club as a company is going to get shut down. And then the review embargo opened up on Wednesday, and currently Mina the Hollower is the highest rated game of 2026 with like an 83 Metacritic score. Like, and so that made me like a little like weary, like everybody loves this game. And then I get to it and I'm like, it's good, but I don't know if it's warranting what I'm seeing. And a big part of it is like the fact that I'm doing it in the order that I'm finding things, and it seems to be a disservice to the game. I also don't like that, like, we preach at the Say Report, we've preached this for a while, how important, like, options truly are. Like, the accessibility options and the things like that. You can choose whether or not you use them or not. Feats for Mina the Hollower require you to complete the game with certain modifiers turned on. Where, like, I don't love that. I don't love that I have to modify the game in order to get the platinum on this one, in order to fully complete the achievement list. Those should be options. And when you tie achievements to them, they become a lot less optional. I don't know.
I mean, I know the kind of gamer you are and how the achievement like tree and flow is really important to you in games. So like, I don't want to like dismiss that as somebody that does not care about that sort of stuff. I would love, like, give me some silly ones that I can only do if anti-gravity is on, or if, like, you know what I mean? Like, give me those silly ass achievements, because that's what I want to do is at that point. When I'm at the point where I care about achievements, the little that I do, I'm usually at the point where I just want to break the fucking game. Like, I've had so much fun with this game, I want to see how ridiculous I can make it. I've been doing a ton of like modding stuff lately. I actually just started a BioShock 2 run, but I have modded it so that it's in black and white and has like a film grain over it.
Nice.
So like, cool. I just want to break the game at some point,
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying.
So I think where it comes from me is that, like, Mina the Hollower was announced 6 years ago, right? The Kickstarter started 6 years ago. And in the wake of it being announced, a bunch of people put out Game Boy Color-like games. We played one, right? Like, Ratcheteer is a Game Boy Color-like game. And they're not the only company that did that. There have been a lot of games like Pipistrello and the Magical Yo-Yo. Or there's another one that's very similar to that. Like, that style of game where, like, it's the Game Boy color palette. It's very reminiscent of, like, that specific, like, Link's Awakening sort of game. They've come out. And also, in the 6 years since Mina the Hollower was announced, the landscape of games have changed in a pretty significant way. While, like, live service seems to be the way that AAA has gone, roguelite is the path that it feels like like your independent games have gone, right? Your indie titles have gone the way of roguelites. Yeah. So I feel like the reason they did not release it on Halloween of last year was so they could add this modifier like system to the game, and that modifier system being added to the game is for their way to make Mina the Hollower more like a roguelite. Because like some of the stuff make the game harder, like the heat levels in Hades. Like, it's not all stuff that make the game weird. Some of it's stuff that actively makes the game more difficult. And things I'll say is that in order to beat that 6th dungeon, right? Like, I ended up leveling up my character's attack to the highest level I could get it. And I'm getting the bones to do that, right? I'm getting the souls or whatever you want to call it, the currency in order to level up her attack is coming to me because I'm in the 6th level where killing a basic enemy gives me like 400 souls. So now I'm like over leveled. Not only am I over leveled from the fact that like I beat the what is supposed to be one of the harder dungeons as my second experience in the game, and now I'm going to what quote unquote are easier dungeons, but also I found an item that increases your attack level +1, and that still works. Even though I'm at max attack level, I could equip that and get stronger. Which on the one level, I love that as a gamer. I love that item is not rendered like useless once I've hit max level. That does legitimately go to 11. But like, I just feel I'm killing almost everything with one hit. And I've cleared 2 dungeons.
I mean, man, a lot of this sounds like you did this to yourself.
I know. Again, like I said, Devon Decker disclaimer. I did it to myself. But the game is not rigid enough that I couldn't do it to myself, which unfortunately does lend a little bit of validity to the critiques that people have been having about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Which brings me to the final thing that I would like to talk about. I thought there was something else I said I would get back to, but we got to get moving.
Pop-Tarts, I think.
Oh, Pop-Tarts! Pop-Tarts are the last thing. So one thing, and then we'll get to the Pop-Tarts of it all. There is a 4th He-Man figure that is a tie-in to the Masters of the Universe movie that releases on June 5th. Again, we're not sponsored for this at all. I just kind of love action figures, and this was a huge excuse for me to buy 4 He-Man action figures. So, Core Origin Chronicles, do you have a guess as to what the 4th one is? I mean, you have an answer if you unspoilered the photos that I sent to you.
I haven't unspoiled them yet, but I have to imagine it's like She-Ra or something. Right?
Sejohn, why don't you go ahead and unspoil those pictures right now?
Okay.
And then you'll get to see what it is. I sent them to you directly.
Sorry. Yep, direct.
That's all right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it is a Mattel property, they did a Barbie He-Man figure.
That's pretty awesome.
It is the second best figure that they have released. And the only reason that it's not the best figure, like straight up, it would be the best figure if it was not $55.
Yeah, but the thing is, these collectors' Barbies are still pretty big for people that aren't even really into quote unquote toy collecting.
Oh yeah,
like my mom is a big fan of getting like a nice Barbie for like Christmas or something.
Oh, so's mine. Like the Wicked stuff, we got all the Wicked stuff for Mom. Like she still has it in packages displayed in her little like home office area. Like, so it's that.
I like that he's a little. I mean, because it's a Barbie mold. Like, it is a male mold to be clear, but it is still like curvy. Like it's shaped like a Barbie doll. So he's got a little bit of like a thin waist going on there that's a little off. And
he's great. He'd be the best figure. Like I opened it this morning. Like he arrived last night. I had to get it from Amazon. It was sold out everywhere else. Again, it pays to have the exclusive rights to the movie. I got him. He came like in a shipping box, like the type of stuff you get at the store. Opened him up. He has the same amount. He has one less point of articulation than the deluxe articulation figures. His torso does not bend. But other than that, like, I can get him into all the poses. He does come with a doll stand, which helps, like, for display purposes. His sword of power looks the best because it's metallic. The only reason it's not number one is the price. Those core figures are the number one things that you can get with it because they're $10 a figure, and they're, like, spot-on recreations of the characters from the movie. Like, spot on.
That's pretty awesome.
But this Barbie, like, and the other reason why I did it, because I'm like, I don't need to do it. Like, it's not something I would usually get. Like, the other three are the things that are competing for my money. This is outside of it. But then a bunch of toy collectors online were like, I'm not buying a fucking doll. I'd love to do a review on that figure, but I'm not going to be caught buying a fucking doll. And it's like, my friend, they're all dolls. Like, I don't mean to be like, why are you drawing the line just because it, like, you have to go down the pink aisle at Target in order to purchase it? Like,
people are stupid.
People are stupid,
so stupid,
right? And I got to tell you, I'm so happy that I picked that up because it just looks so good. And I can't believe it came with like a legitimate certificate of authenticity. Like, this is a certified Barbie Masters of the Universe doll. You made the right choice.
That's what they do, man.
Yeah.
No. My mom still has one that we bought her when I was a kid, the Lucille Ball release that they put out, and it was Lucy in the Chocolate Factory is the one that I got her.
Nice.
and it has the ticket of authenticity with it and everything. Like, yeah.
But yeah, double jointed knees and elbows, like rockers on the wrists and ankles. It's an impressive figure. So if you're looking, I still recommend the core, right? I wish that Sejohn had gotten one of them out of the box so that he could give you some hand-on experience with it. But like, yeah, they're the best ones for the value, the playability, and the accuracy. Like, he doesn't look 100% like the Nick Gillistane who's playing Prince Adam in the movie, but he looks so good. Like, it's just such a fun, like, representation of He-Man. That is also a cool collaboration by He-Man's company, Mattel. You know Mattel. They brought us the Power Glove. Did I really just tie it all together, Sejohn? I think I did.
Fantastic.
All right, so that's almost everything that happened in May of 2026 on my end. Sejohn, before I share the Pop-Tarts thing, is there anything else you want to make sure you put into this episode?
There's definitely some other things that went on. Let me just double check that there isn't anything I feel like we need to talk about immediately. I doubt there is, but no. Everything else is just like kind of out of time stuff anyway. Like, I watched a bunch of old movies and stuff that I wanted to talk about. We already mentioned When Harry Met Sally last week, but there was a couple of others as well.
Well, I look forward
to get to that stuff.
I look forward to it, man. I look forward to talking about it. We got some weird episodes coming up because I'm actually taking a for real vacation for the first time in, I'm gonna say, like 10 years.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's crazy to me that I'm actually like going to go somewhere for an extended period of time. Not just like an overnight trip. So I'm excited about that. So we'll have some stuff and we can talk about that things. All right. But so before we end this one though, the Pop-Tarts thing, Sejohn, are you familiar with the latest innovation in Pop-Tarts technology?
Is it like make your own or some shit?
Oh my God. That'd be great. A make your own Pop-Tart. Kramer would be so mad. It is the super stuffed Pop-Tart.
Oh.
With 50% more filling. They come in 3 flavors. Man. Super stuffed strawberry blast, super stuffed molten lava cake, and the Walmart exclusive super stuffed cinnamon caramel. Now, you think you're going to be getting a good deal there, right? You think, this is worth it. This is exactly what I should be doing, right? It's super stuffed. It's super stuffed.
But it's one in a package, isn't it?
It is one in a package, and it is only 5 Pop-Tarts to a box of Pop-Tarts. So, if for people who are paying attention at home, now, this is all based on stuff that, like, math that we did on the 27th of April. Me and one of my coworkers on lunch, I, like, showed her the super stuffed Pop-Tarts, and we were curious about that. Because I automatically thought, this is a scam, right? While you're getting more filling per Pop-Tart, you're getting less filling overall. At Walmart, an 8-pack is $2.78. The 5-pack is $2.78. But if each of the 5-pack Pop-Tarts is worth 1.5 Pop-Tarts, in that 5-pack is 7.5 Pop-Tarts of filling. So buying the 8-pack is the better
Oh God. Yeah, you know what I mean though. You know what I was thinking though. This is a sneaky way to get shrinkflation out there.
Oh yeah,
You
totally.
know,
Absolutely.
they're giving you less stuff in the package, but they're reformatting it just enough that you really kind of don't think about it if you're not, Devon.
Yes, this is you know what happened? So Dutton Ranch started as well. I kind of wanted to save talking about Marshalls and Dutton Ranch till both of them are done. Dutton Ranch is fucking fire. 4 episodes have aired and the show is just so good. Like it is the true like successor to Yellowstone is Dutton Ranch. I like Marshalls, but it really feels like they grafted Yellowstone characters onto an existing property. Dutton Ranch feels like this is the continuation of Yellowstone. In just so many wonderful ways. But when we watched the 3rd episode of Dutton Ranch, slight spoilers for it, they end up with they buy a new bull in the 2nd episode, and then their entire herd of cattle comes down with hoof and mouth disease, which is huge deal, in cattle raising. And they're like, where the fuck could it have come from? And the only solution would be the bull, because it's the only new thing that they've introduced to it. And Dale, after the episode, is like, I'm so pissed about that. I'm so pissed about that. And it's like, why? And she's like, because I worked at the aquarium. And I know that, like, you don't just introduce new animals before a quarantine period, right? Like, you would test to see if that bull were sick before you introduce him to it. And they introduced it the same day. And she's like, just going off and off and off. And she's like, oh, like, just this knowledge is so frustrating. And then she stops. And she gets real quiet, and she looks at me across the living room and goes, is this how you feel all the time, Devon? And yes, right? Yes, this is how I feel all the time. This is me noticing that, like, oh, it's only a single Pop-Tart per package, and it's only 5 packages, so I'm getting half a Pop-Tart less for the same price, but I feel like I'm getting more. And, like, the pastry is, like, cannot sustain the super stuffing. Like, it is still, like, they fall apart. They're the most fragile Pop-Tarts ever. Like,
Oh, man, really?
Yeah, they're so, like, you open it up and they're already broken in the package. Like, occasionally you might, like, you lose a corner for standard Pop-Tarts, but it's a mess trying to eat the super stuffed Pop-Tarts. But it's
so unfortunate.
It is, and it's the same thing they did with Oreos, right? Where, like, once they introduced the double stuff, the standard Oreo, they started putting less cream in. So that the double stuff felt like a better deal. And it's just, like you said, like Sejohn said, it's exactly what it is. It is disguising shrinkflation as we're giving you more bang for your buck while they're actually not. And I was disappointed. I mean, Pop-Tarts are having a weird moment right now anyway, because they added protein to them. Protein is going to be a whole topic for a later episode of this series. Because just because something has protein in it doesn't mean that it's not still bad for you. Protein Pop-Tarts have like less than 5 grams of protein in it. It's the type of protein that, like, legally it's protein, so we can say there's protein in it, but it doesn't have any of the benefits of the protein you'd find in, like, a whole food, like chicken breast or similar. And it still has the same amount of sugars and fats in it, right? Just because you eat a bag of Lay's potato chips that have protein, that doesn't suddenly undo all of the fat, oil, and grease that you're taking in. You're just also taking in protein. It's a scene, man. It's an absolute scene.
Brother.
Man. I wanted to keep this episode. Yeah, that wraps up May, and I wanted to keep it under 3 hours, so we have to end this one. Look forward to some, planned absence episodes. Like I said, I'm going away. We have a special thing that's going to be coming out for you guys. Might be an episode, might just be like a little mini surprise. These are all production things that we could talk about now that we're not only focusing on Brendan Fraser. Oh, I didn't get to see Pressure. Having to take mom to the hospital meant I missed out on my opportunity to see Pressure on Friday. So
apparently, he got to wave the flag at the Indy 500.
He was a Jeopardy category. He got to give 3 Jeopardy clues on nice. Monday of the week. It was awesome. It made me so happy. So that's all the things to note about the show that's going forward. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode where we recapped the other things that happened that were not Brendan Fraser related in May of 2026. It's a long one. It's a crazy one. Legitimately insane. It started with me complaining about Say Anything, right? That wasn't a fever dream that I had. Sejohn, are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted an actual answer? I'm sorry. I thought that was rhetorical.
Sejohn not answering me made me think that Sejohn is a figment of my imagination. I'm both Devon and Sejohn in a weird Tyler Durden sort of situation.
Well, the fact that I'm played by Paul Bettany should have given you a clue.
This guy's a fucking dickhead. I love you, Sejohn. Fucking, we love you, Paul Bettany. We love you at the Say Report. All right, so thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can join us in our Discord. Invitations to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Go to the bio section. You'll see an invitation to join the Discord, and you can join and get in on all the fun stuff that we talk about there. If you're not on social media, but you want an invitation to join the Discord, just send us an email directly, thesayreport@gmail.com, and we can facilitate you with an invitation to join. Or if Discord is still too much social media for you, we totally understand it. So just communicate with us via email. Again, thesayreport@gmail.com. Send us your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, and we can respond to you that way. And the important thing to remember is that if you want to send something for just me, Devon Decker, or him, Sejohn Sarwick, put our name in the subject line, and it will be distributed to the Say Reporter of your choice. Just keep in mind that if you send something to me that I'm like, oh, this is juicy, we should talk about it on the show, I'm going to talk about it on the show. Any submissions are open to being discussed in an actual episode of the Say Report. It's just something to keep in mind. Honestly, it's something to keep in mind with anything you do on the internet. Anything you put out there can be mined for content from other people. Right? Which actually just made me terrified after our brief conversation on OnlyFans. All of that said, thank you again for joining us on this episode of the Say Report. If you see Will, wish him a happy birthday as he brings us home. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Sarwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.